Welcome to this week's episode of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters, the podcast where we chart the cinematic legacy of the classic monsters. I'm John Campbell. With me, as always, Brendan Jones.
John Campbell. I don't talk to our fans a lot. I don't get a lot of the emails. But every now and then, someone will reach out, and this is a specific listener concern. And they said to me, and I thought this was very almost, psychic. They said, "Love the podcast. You guys are great." So I meant to tell you that, John. They love what we do.
It's always nice to hear.
Right, but they also said the problem is that I'm worried you guys will never do a film with a character named Boof in it. And I said, just hang in there. I responded back. I said, just hang in there. You'll be really surprised.
I got a similar email saying we have never done a movie with a character named Chubby in it. So,
It's true.
Hey, here's an episode for both of those listeners. No, I thought you were going to say, what I was glad to see is we're finally getting a movie for the teenage crowd on this show.
Well, you could say Fright Night was walking that line.
It was, but the problem was they didn't put teen in the title.
That's right. This one is aimed squarely at me at this age.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about, of course, 1985's Teen Wolf. A movie I have no doubt in my mind was sold on title alone.
Yep.
It had to be, and then they figured out what it was going to be afterwards.
The thing is, well, there was, of course, I Was a Teenage Werewolf, which we did not cover on this podcast, but no. I have a weird fondness for that one. Michael Landon.
Sure. That has a very charming old B-movie vibe to it.
Yeah. Werewolf in a leather jacket. That's all I've ever wanted in my life. But this movie is clearly, as you say, aiming strictly at teens, and it's right there in the title. And it's also decided to, it's not necessarily a parody. It's not a parody, but they decided to go into a comedic reality where nothing's ever examined or has real stakes or consequences. A supernatural creature can appear suddenly and then just be a basketball star. Without the townspeople rising up and shooting him with silver bullets.
Watching this again, and this was a movie I loved as a kid. I've watched this movie so many times. This is another thing. I was talking to you about something else that I did this with recently, but this was another movie where I haven't seen this movie in probably 20 years.
Yeah.
And yet I remembered almost every part of it when I started watching it again, because I obsessively watched this on VHS as a kid because, and I think we talked about this before, it's a great kids werewolf movie. Like,
it is, because
8
all it
to
is,
10-year-old me just thought this movie ruled.
The only thing this movie is doing, and I would argue that it's better than it had to be, and certainly not as great as it could be, but it's actually smart here and there and has some pretty funny bits. But the thing is that it really is what Buffy did later, which is take the teen issue, the thing that we all go through, finding yourself, and puberty and all that, and then just putting this supernatural spin on
the werewolf metaphor for puberty is great. That's just, that writes itself with the Teen Wolf. I will say, watching it now in my 30s, I did watch it this morning and went, basically nothing happens in this movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely nothing.
I'm going, because that was the thing as I was watching, I'm trying to remember and going, like, does this build any kind of, not really. Really, it's so light. It's too light. That's my big review is it needed something. I don't know what it is. Did it need a villain? Did it need I still think keep it like a PG movie, but like I think it needed a little danger or a little.
Well, there is no fear of him ever. There's surprise, but no fear, and there's nothing horror in it other than one itty bitty loss of anger. Which results in no death, but the tearing of the shirt.
That's the thing, and I think they could have taken that. He could have cut the guy at least. You know what I mean? Like that, because it's meant to be this like holy shit. But when it really is just the tearing of the shirt, and I'm talking about just a flesh wound, really, I'm not looking to turn this into a bloody horror movie. We'll talk about the fact
a little bit of raking of the flesh would have been fine.
Absolutely. That's the thing where I'm just going like, it just needed just
what you could have done, because obviously
substance.
his father went through the same thing in the same town.
Yes.
What you could have had is you could have had a character. Let's say I've just invented one. He's the high school janitor. He's been there for a few decades. But the whole thing is that he came to town specifically because he knew that there was werewolf activity.
Yeah.
So maybe the high school janitor is like a crazy Van Helsing type who is like, the second Scott is a star werewolf guy and the popular kid in high school. You have this guy who's determined to hunt him or kill him.
I want just a little bit of stakes. I want just a little bit of peril. And this movie would be, 20% better, I think, if that was the case. Instead, it's all very light. It's all very amusing. It's all extremely watchable at a 91-minute runtime.
Yeah, but it's very cute.
It is very cute. And I would say, to the point of being too cute. But also, reading the background on this movie, I get that. I get kind of why, because apparently the mandate was do it fast and do it cheap from the studio.
Yeah.
And weirdly, it stemmed
it's
from, according to this, the studio had a big hit with Valley Girl before this.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, this was the next step where they're like, well, we like the teenage thing, but could you also add a werewolf to the mix?
What's really surprising to me, and it's something that I had never really focused on when I watched it before, and again, this is my generation. This is my wheelhouse. But the thing is that Valley Girl, it's not a great movie either.
It's very
but
charming.
You got young Nicolas Cage.
Much like this movie, the leading man really makes that movie better than it should be.
But another thing about Valley Girl, it quite specifically nails a real part of that era.
Yeah.
And has a great soundtrack. This movie is like is so light and slight.
The soundtrack is terrible in this movie.
This is more suburban, and of course I did not live in like downtown LA during this time. I was in the suburbs of Texas. So this actually looks more like what my childhood did than Valley Girl, but it also makes it so incredibly bland. And then their music choices, like they spent all their money on a couple of Beach Boys tunes, and that's like from 20 years before.
For just a visual gag with the accompanying Beach Boys music is like, man,
the contemporary music like that the kids are dancing to, and I'm like, these are horrible songs.
There is no equivalent to "Melt with You" from Valley Girl, right? Which is I'd stop the world and melt with you.
It really is a good soundtrack. It's a really good soundtrack. They did the deep dive into what the current culture was, and this one does not. This found some really cheap songs, including one that talks about a big bad wolf, so they could put that in and have they have the actual werewolf dance.
But they couldn't afford the kids spontaneously. They couldn't afford Werewolf London or anything like that. Something like a famous
because
wolf
that song, if you listen to the lyrics, are actually quite violent and snarky.
Oh, nobody listens to the lyrics, and they put crap in movies all the time that makes no sense.
I always listen to the lyrics.
No, I know, but I'm talking about the studios are famous for. I'm like, wait a minute,
not.
This isn't a happy song at all.
The one song that has the big bad wolf thing, and it is a nod to the period. Just as part of it, it has an electronic voice changer thing in it. Dow, bow, 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 wow, wow. And I was like, okay, very 80s. And also that's one thing.
The song that plays over the excruciatingly long final basketball sequence.
Oh my god,
has such a Bowie sound alike doing the vocals. And it's singing about something or other, winning the basketball game, but not as a wolf.
I think those are exactly the words.
I didn't even listen to the words because I was singing along my own fake things as doing that. Like,
winning the basketball game, except not as a wolf.
It doesn't need the wolf powers anymore.
Now he's sharing the ball with even the fat guy.
A man who couldn't run up and down the court. That guy is in no shape to play a game of basketball. I'll just say that.
Well, that guy is a great character actor, and loved him dearly in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah, I mean, Pee-wee's Big Adventure is, I believe, he's also one of the villains. Another childhood favorite of mine. One Crazy Summer, is that?
One Crazy Summer.
Yeah.
Savage Steve Holland, great stuff. But you know, he's just another one of the 28-year-old high school students running around this movie.
Let's see, he was
I saw on IMDb.
Yeah, he was 27 in this movie.
Yeah, they listed the ages of everybody in it, and it is ridiculous. It's like 23, 27, 28.
That is actor.
They're all high school
actor
students.
Mark Holton is that actor's name.
And he was such a figure of that period.
Oh, good Lord. In 2003, he played the title role in Gacy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I kind of want to see this now.
Me
and
too.
It's him being real creepy in clown makeup on the poster for it. So I kind of want.
Well, there you go.
I always just think of this guy as like he was in A League of Their Own. I don't remember that offhand.
Probably not a huge part.
Yeah, I doubt it. Oh, he did do an episode
he's a good character actor.
He was a Bolian on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, if anyone remembers the Bolians. They're blue. I don't know what the...
I'm just going to do a little shout out to all you guys who love the Bolians.
All you Bolian
And coming up
heads
next is a rock block of...
Coming up next, we're talking Cardassians here on the... Yeah.
And I got a call from Deep Space Nine. Someone wants to hear some 38 Special. And we're going to get that up for you.
Hey, there's a character we never saw in Deep Space Nine, the station DJ. That's the character I would have liked to have played on the air. This is coming to us from Dr. Bashir. He sped it out. He sent it out a special love song to Jadzia Dax. Jadzia, he said he's sorry, and he really
this one
wants
comes
to
with a
patch things
dedication. The message attaches, Miles, sorry about what happened in the turbo lift.
Now here's Barry Manilow.
Now here's Barry Manilow.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about Teen Wolf, though.
Oh, we should talk about Teen Wolf. I want to talk about this poster because, Brendan, I feel like you're going to have some thoughts about this poster because it is very Superman-esque.
I think it's one of the finest posters we've done on this our long podcast. Didn't we start this podcast somewhere in the late 90s?
Somewhere about then. Remember. 97, 98 maybe. Yeah.
This poster is, again, if you ever... Well, again, we're dating ourselves. I was about to say VHS rental stores, video stores. Yeah. There were some covers that were just ubiquitous. And I... remember this so well, not from because I only saw it once in the theater,
right?
But every time I'd go to Blockbuster or Mom and Pa's video shop, this thing was always faced out.
Absolutely,
and it is a decent airbrushy type Michael J. Fox. It looks just like him, and nothing wrong with his face, but he's opening his shirt and his leather jacket to show a Teen Wolf t-shirt and copious amounts of hair springing up out of his chest and out of his hands.
And he's got the claws on his thumbs.
Yeah, he's got the claws.
He's got the wolf
And there's
hands.
A full moon behind him.
Yeah, and it says, he always wanted to be special, but he never expected this.
Oh,
and then it has something that we don't see on posters or in trailers anymore, which is a new comedy starring Michael J. Fox.
Well, what's great about that is, as you know, because you've looked and done the research there, this thing was shot before he did
Back to the
Future.
Yes. In fact, here's an interesting tidbit about this movie. He shot this movie basically only because Family Ties had to go on hiatus while Meredith Baxter had a baby.
Burney was pregnant. Yeah.
Right. So he needed something to do, basically. And Teen Wolf was out there.
And this was local.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think this was
shot
sort of
in
like
Fremont, California.
Yeah, I think he's sort of like, well, I've got like a month and a half. Is there something we can just fit in here? Teen Wolf, sure.
And he wasn't. I mean, but he didn't have a huge pedigree outside of TV at this point.
No, he was a big time star on Family Ties.
Is that he's months away from getting the biggest thing in the world.
He's about to be a megastar. Yeah, like
so the fact that they put this on the poster, this movie actually did follow hot on the
Yeah.
heels of the amazing success of Back to the
Well,
Future.
can I talk about that? There's another tagline here listed for a different poster.
Oh yeah. What's the tagline?
It is Michael J. Fox is back from the future in a new comedy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and in
So
fact,
this movie, which is not anywhere near Back to the Future,
holy shit,
succeeds based on the star power that he has already generated. So a lesser film of his becomes this hit simply because of timing.
Here, this is also my favorite piece of trivia, which is because it was released, of course, after Back to the Future. In Brazil, it was titled Garoto do Futuro, which translates to "Boy from the Future."
So there you go. Yeah, that has nothing to do with it, but they're like, let's cash in.
No, it's like I'm a big Franco Nero fan, and a lot of his foreign releases, because Django was such a big hit,
They put Django in the title.
Yeah, it'd be like he'd make like a modern day police movie. It'd be called Django the Cop. You're like, wait, what?
We don't care what it's really about. We just want to draw your attention to the fact that that's the guy who played Django that you like so much.
And Brendan, there's a little connection to this movie and the state we both live in here, which is the logo for the Beavers basketball team in this is taken from our own Oregon State University Beavers.
Completely lifted, and I don't believe any credit was given.
I think this was a time you could kind of do. Now you'd be sued into the ground about this.
Yeah, because this isn't supposed to be Oregon. This is supposed to be California.
No, but the second I saw that beaver, I'm like, I know that.
Yeah. I thought you were going to bring up another connection. This is connected to another werewolf movie we've done very recently.
Go ahead.
Mr. Thorne, the principal,
the needlessly evil principal, you mean?
Yes, was also the newscaster in The Howling.
Oh, I really like him in The Howling.
And
he's really funny in that movie.
There's another connection that you don't even know about.
Is that right? Other than his appearance as a different newscaster in Gremlins?
The connection is Brendan Douglas Jones.
Uh-oh. You have a connection to James McCrell?
I do indeed. Jim McCrell. He basically commuted all the time from Houston, Texas to LA, where he would do bit parts. And he actually is, and you will see he has a long IMDb.
Well, and this one is actually not a bit part. He's a little bit of a supporting role in this thing.
No, it's true. But I mean, he was never going to be the lead of anything.
No, I just think it's interesting because when looking through the rest of his credits, they are mostly like, newscaster.
But Jim McCrell was an actual newscaster and hosted news magazines in Houston, Texas. The television station he worked for was the independent channel, KXTV, was Channel 39. That was the same station where I was, Kid Fix It, for the Channel 39 Funtime Kids Club. So Jim McCrell was often about in the studios while we were recording our bits, and it was not like we became friends. He, of course, looked down on us because we're doing a kiddie show and doing wacky voices and wearing costumes, and he's like, how's it going in here? I was like, just fine, Jim. And he's exactly off camera what he seems like on camera. Well, he is very much like, I am newsman.
Well, I'll tell you this,
Ron
Brendan,
Burgundy.
According to his, he does seem like of that era for sure. According to his IMDb biography, he is still to this day hosting a top-rated radio talk show in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, in Houston. Yeah. So that's it. I have a connection to both The Howling and Teen Wolf.
And Gremlins, as I said. He's also a
and Gremlins, that's right.
Oh my God, and he did an episode of Small Wonder. Holy shit. We're not connecting to my childhood some more. He was on a lot of shows I liked. Well,
he's a very ubiquitous character face.
I loved Stingray, 21 Jump Street.
My brother, who did the job on Channel 39 before I got it, and is older and
he's in Defending Your Life. I love that movie.
He has a great memory for all these people, and he actually, when I started working there, my brother was like, how you like meeting Jim McCrell? And I was like going, I don't know, he's just a guy in a suit. And then my brother had to tell me all the stuff he was in. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Did you ever ask him about how was Teen Wolf?
No, I wish
No.
I had.
Yeah.
It was like passing in the halls, and he'd be getting ready for like a broadcast or something. They'd be filming the news after we finished wrapping our week of introducing Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. But
Yeah, man.
he would
Ooh.
be walking
Now
in
you're
just
hitting my
going like,
childhood again. Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
I know all the ones that I used to, the Disney block that we
Yeah,
used to
man.
introduce.
Ooh, Tailspin
Those
was
have
always my favorite.
coming back. My favorite was Darkwing Duck.
Well, I love Darkwing Duck too, but Tailspin had the kind of Indiana Jonesy adventure aspect
It's
to it
true,
that I really
and you
dug.
had Baloo the bear as basically
Well,
Jake from
and I was a
Tales from the Gold Monkey.
yeah, that connected to two things. I'm like, oh my god, it's just like animated Tales from the Gold Monkey.
This is perfect.
But I did love Darkwing Duck too because it was obviously a masked crime fighter.
Mm-hmm.
All great stuff though. DuckTales, the whole thing. I loved it.
And I will say that Jim McCrell does a fine job in this.
Yeah, he's all right in this.
He's the closest you get to an antagonist in this movie.
He is, and it's for the longest time you don't fully understand why, and then it's a personal vendetta against his father, and like
Yeah, because the dad got the girl he loved from high school
and made him piss his pants, which he then does again.
And it gets a good little zinger.
Yeah.
Most of these good little zingers you have to credit Mr. Jeff Loeb.
Oh my God, comics legend, Jeff Loeb. There were there's a part of me that wonders, like with the poster, and this movie could become a superhero movie without too much of a push. I wonder if he pitched it to go more that way. And there is a direct Spider-Man reference that had to be a Loeb line, right?
Of course, the whole with great power comes an even greater responsibility, I think is what he says here.
So that I'm like, well, Loeb wrote that.
Yes, he has to.
Jeff Loeb, he had a kind of a brief screenwriting career in the 80s.
I think that actually television and film was his primary thing. Comics he came to later, but was clearly always a comics guy.
Yes, because he wrote this, Commando, which everybody talks about. People don't often mention that he also wrote the Whoopi Goldberg movie Burglar.
Jeez.
And I heard him talk about this when he was on Fat Man on Batman, that he had loved the novels that Burglar is based on, and he wanted to develop it as a vehicle for Bruce Willis, because those were more like serious crime novels. And the studio was like, we've got Whoopi Goldberg. It was like, that's
the Hollywood in a nutshell.
That's not really at all the vision of the character from the novels. And we don't care. We have Whoopi, and she's huge.
God.
Yeah.
So much wrong with all of that.
Very wrong. And I love Whoopi. Huge Whoopi fan. But
when she's used right, when she finds the right fit, man, of course,
Sister Act is hilarious.
Yeah.
Sister Act, great. And those were vehicles built for Whoopi Goldberg I'm on board for. But when you're shoehorning her into things like that just because she's big, no thanks.
Yeah, I think at the time she probably would have had the power to say no, but I think there must have been something appealing where they said, no, we can do this whole series and you'll be, there'll be a whole new thing where you're not just Miss Comedy. We're going to work you into some thriller comedies. And I'm not sure. Or it was just a big paycheck. And she was like, I can't pass that on.
What was I going to say here? He eventually, it seems like he pretty quickly transitioned out of screenwriting into comic book writing. But then did return as a TV writer in the 2000s on Smallville and Heroes, which I think is interesting because Teen Wolf 2 is written by Heroes creator Tim Kring.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah. And Loeb does have a story by credit on. He is based on characters by and story by Joseph Loeb, as he was credited.
So what did he do? Just go, instead of basketball, you should make him a boxer. All right, I'm out.
He's a wrestler, actually, is what.
Oh, wrestler,
yeah,
right?
He's a wrestler. He's still one of the greatest titles in movie history. We'll talk about that movie, but Teen Wolf 2, as in Jason Bateman is a Teen Wolf also
as well.
Yeah,
Teen Wolf as well with Jason Bateman.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Oh
man, I'm excited to get there.
We're not there yet.
No,
we need to talk about Scott.
Yes, Scott Howard.
Scott Howard.
Oh, Scott Howard, man. I mean,
he's just a hapless, short basketball playing teenager.
The thing I don't believe is that women would not be going for Mr. Fox.
I mean, is it the whole thing is not that he's a loser.
It's
though
that he is irrationally, stupidly fixated on the most popular girl.
Well, there's that, but also what really at some point he, or maybe it's his best friend Boof says it, is that he's just mediocre. He can't stand being so incredibly average.
Yeah.
So he's not a loser.
Yeah.
There are people like Chubby who probably are more closer to the loser.
Yeah, he's
stereotype.
not. And actually, I was thinking about this because of the Spider-Man line, and I've often said this, that I thought mid-'80s Michael J. Fox would have crushed Spider-Man.
Oh my God! Again, but way too small.
I don't know though. Is he that much smaller than Holland? Holland's not a big dude.
No, it's true.
That's but just true. Everything about his personality he'd be so good. He would be lovable as Peter Parker. He'd be funny in the suit.
The
always
look
had
is absolutely right too. Yeah. That face is basically, that's essentially like John Romita Jr. John Romita Sr.
Yeah,
Peter Parker.
He is Peter Parker, man. I always thought that. I was always like, damn. I'm sure the movie would have been terrible in the mid-'80s, but
it would have been awful.
Just like, so many people compare Holland, I've heard, to Michael J. Fox.
It's the same sort of approachable, likable, still handsome guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a thing where you go too far one way or the other. It sounds so terrible to say it, but if you go more handsome, then you're not as approachable, then you're not as relatable.
No,
they're all people right at the point of being very appealing to men and women.
Mm-hmm.
He's safe, unthreatening, attractive, but not like buff, scary, hot guy.
Right. Yeah, that's it exactly. He is. We can go like, well, I could be a Michael J. Fox. I mean, I remember as a kid, I loved this movie, and as I still do, one of my all-time favorite movies, Back to the Future, because I remember just being like, oh, I want to be like Marty McFly when I'm old.
Yes.
That was my idol as a kid. I'm like, I've got...
Not hyper brilliant, not too funny to be just a normal guy.
But
you just buy him as the average guy.
But he's confident and cool and funny.
Yeah,
but like
and can ride that skateboard.
Yeah. And can ride that skate. And he did things I never did, like rode a skateboard or play guitar.
I tried to ride a skateboard and I tried to play the guitar, neither of which took.
Yeah, I do have a guitar in my closet that I tried to play, and I always talk about maybe someday I'll pick it up. Hasn't happened as of yet.
That's all right. We're here to keep the dream alive.
So the beginning...
how does the movie open, my friend?
The first shot of this movie... It paints it as a different... I mean, here's the thing I did not remember watching this again is how much of a basketball movie it is.
Oh, yeah.
Because we start on this low-angle shot of Michael J. Fox dripping sweat on the lens of the camera, and the sound is all out except for his...
The heartbeat. Yeah, and the breathing and the heartbeat.
I was like, what the hell? I did not remember it starting like this.
I thought that,
and he is just pouring sweat. Every character is dumped with a bucket of water before these basketball scenes.
Yeah, that makes it unrealistic. Yeah. Yes, you can sweat. Yeah, it could be matted, your hair, and all that stuff. But literally, they are pouring. They literally just hose them down before each one of these shots.
It's pretty funny. They would be
dead,
But
the opening shot is clever, and this director means nothing to me. The name means nothing to me. But you see a circular light as if it's like sort of full moonish, and then when you pull back, it is just a light bulb in a gym, high school gym ceiling.
Yes.
That then Scott enters the shot and drips sweat all over the camera because he is doing free throws.
Yes.
And he doesn't make it.
He doesn't make it because their team is terrible. They lose this game, what is it, 71-12?
Yeah. These guys
at one point, their coach tries to forfeit the game before it's over.
Well, here's one of the things I like about this movie is
that was funny.
Well, yeah, the thing I like about it is done cheap, but they found really good character actors for pretty much every single part.
Yeah.
And I will say this, Jeff Loeb did not write a brilliant script, but he spins things in a comedic way. This high school coach is not your typical high school coach who's like, guys, we can do this, we can win. This guy's like, it's okay, man, we don't have to win. In fact, we're not going to win this. Why don't we just Can we just throw in the towel and quit?
Jay Tarsis is this actor who plays the coach, and I will say, watching as an adult, he is maybe the funniest thing in the movie to me. His scenes,
he's
when
great.
he just goes over to the coach and goes, "We'd like to forfeit," and the guy's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" He goes, "Get ahead of the traffic," you know?
Yeah, no. It's the non-alpha, non-jockish guy who's just like, we're just here to have fun, and oh well, we lost, no big deal.
I think my favorite though is when he
can always talk to me.
Is when he goes into his office later to talk to him. He goes like, "Well, honestly, I haven't been paying much attention. IRS is all over my ass." And you're like, "What is that about?" I just like that he's maybe a little shady too, and he's a guy who's got problems. And he just happens to be the basketball coach.
Hey, coach, can I talk to you about something? He's like going, "Oh, I'd help you out if I could, but I'm real strapped." As if the coach is expecting someone to hit him up for $20 or something.
It's happened before.
So I like that character, and Jay Tars's long career as comedic sort of supporting player, comedian, and writer. He wrote a bunch of like sitcoms and stuff like that.
Oh, look at that! To this day, man.
Still going strong, Jay Tarsis?
Okay, man, Matt, to this day, but like into the 90s and early 2000s.
That's great.
Producing TV shows and writing on them. And actually, the first thing that comes up when you look at his IMDb is writer. He's got more writing credits than anything.
Yeah.
Look at that, though. He was still doing like Franklin and Bash.
Sure.
Anybody remember that? Oh, shit. He was on the
people.
Duck Factory.
Duck Factory, I watched.
Yeah, which was an early starring vehicle for Jim Carrey.
Yeah, a Jim Carrey sitcom where he was an animator. I watched that one.
Yeah. I mean, could have worked. They had the talent.
But you've got everybody. I mean, you've got.
We did 2 episodes
we already
of Family
mentioned
Ties.
Mark Holton, who is the guy who plays Chubby and was in, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
Jerry Levine, who plays Styles, is a recognizable face.
Jerry Levine is one of those guys where I'm like, I don't even know what I know him from. You know what I mean?
But you know him.
Oh, because he's been in a million. I mean, certainly I know him from this movie because Styles.
Even
is very
the guy
memorable.
who plays like the antagonistic, and I couldn't figure this out either. They seem to only ever play one other team.
Yes, they do.
and the hot girl of the high school that Scott's got the crush on dates the guy who's on the opposing team, so he doesn't even go to the same high school.
I thought that was so weird, but they needed that so that he could face him off in basketball.
Right. But that guy, Mark Arnold, another face that you'd seen a million times. I mean, these are people, but mainly it boils down to, and I love him, James Hampton, who plays Scott's dad. This is also a guy you've seen in a million things, and he is solid. I've always loved this dude.
Can I also say, I just learned this now from looking at his IMDb, his acting mentor, Mr. Leonard Nimoy.
Perfect.
That's amazing. Mr. Spock was this guy's acting coach.
I think that's awesome.
That is great.
And he is a Texan, and so he actually was a close friend, and I found that on IMDb, of Jim McCrell. So when they did this movie, they're like old buddies. They're like, "Hey, how you doing? Great." So I think it's hilarious that they played high school rivals in this.
Yes, of course. He was on Full House. He was Jesse and Joey's boss when they worked as advertising guys. Yes. I mean, he's one of those guys you've seen in a million things. I will say, I believe...
He did so much TV, but I do remember him very strongly from The Longest Yard.
Prior to the MTV show, which I do kind of want to talk about a little bit, he is the only actor who is in every version of Teen Wolf, including the animated series.
Well, I guess he believed in it.
Because he does come back for Teen Wolf 2. And
yeah, he's the link where it's like, just like your cousin, looks like you got the werewolf gene. Sorry about that, guy.
Oh shit, he's not the only person who comes back for it, but I won't ruin who does. We'll just have to find out when we get to it. But there is another actor from this movie that does appear in Teen Wolf 2.
God, I hope it's Styles.
He's also Jason Bateman's dirtbag friend. No, that'd be great. But no, of course, this guy was in a million things, and he just has the best approach to this character. The nonchalant, casual werewolf is so great, especially when he's in the makeup.
Well, he's just a dad.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. And there's also a quote, I guess, in the IMDb thing where where he had asked the director or he asked the writers. This is a weird one where they actually admit in the behind the scenes stuff that the screenwriters screened the directors.
Saw that. Yeah, that's weird.
They chose the director.
I saw that.
That never happened.
They said this guy got the job because he was the only one who said the movie wasn't about a werewolf, it was about a father and son.
Right.
Rod Daniel.
But they do capture that because it's a heartwarming relationship.
Okay.
But he said, what's my take on this character is what Hampton asked him. And they said, well, he's a single dad who knows how to make a casserole. And then he goes, got it. And that's exactly what he plays it as. He is the nicest, warm dad. I love the fact that he's out there playing basketball with the childhood friend Boof. Even when Scott isn't around, he's like
is such
everybody's
a cute scene.
Friendly dad, neighborhood dad.
It's adorable, that scene when he comes up with there. Anyway, I'm looking at Rod Daniel, the director of this movie. I wanted to see what else he directed. He came from sitcoms. He directed 24 episodes of WKRP in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And 11 episodes of something called Filthy Rich, which you got me on this even. Delta Burke and Dixie Carter.
Oh, geez.
Jerry Harden.
But it only lasted a season, 82, 83.
An eccentric family is forced to live under one roof to receive a share of the vast fortune left behind by the patriarch. Oh, boy.
I'm more excited by the 4 episodes of Harper Valley PTA, the TV
I see
series.
he did that. He did a few New Hearts. He did 3 Duck Factories.
Duck Factories.
Bringing that back. This seemed to be his...
He's all over the early 80s.
This was his feature film debut in 85 before he goes on to direct the Jim Belushi classic K9.
Oh.
Yeah. And then...
he worked.
Then back to TV.
Then right back to the warm... well,
his
TV.
final film, because he did sadly die in 2016, was the straight-to-video Home Alone 4.
Yeah.
Yikes, man. Hey, you know what? You take what you can get, man. I can't.
He did Beethoven's second. All right.
Didn't even do the first Beethoven. So he worked with Grodin, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Because that was the last one Grodin was in. He stopped after 2. So yeah, back to this movie. Yeah, they're terrible. We get a dumb joke where the fat guy's locker is full of snacks.
Yeah, well, the purpose of this also is that he's hiding snacks. He should be on a diet, but Scott is going through some changes already because he's hypersensitive. He can smell.
Right. He smells the liverwurst.
Yeah, he's like, that is so powerful. He's like, what do you mean? I had liverwurst like yesterday, and then. And he pulls other things out of the guy's locker. He's like, you should be on a diet. You're fat. And then Chubby turns around and goes, you're 28. No, he doesn't.
Yeah. So, but he also finds when he's in the locker room a mysteriously very long patch of chest hair.
Yeah. Well, it's not even a patch. It's just literally a hair.
It's like 3 hairs, but they all kind of mold together to create this long... Yeah.
This long strand that is about 8 inches long, and he just looks at it and goes, what the hell, and yanks it out.
What's going on here, man? And
I don't know.
This is where the puberty thing comes in, and this is where he does talk to the coach, which we kind of already talked about.
He's like, I'm going through some changes, and he's doing it in his Michael J. Fox. My voice is kind of cracking. Oh, and the coach again is like, dude, this happens all the time. It happens to some people later than others. He's like, I talk to kids all the time about this stuff. So again, he's a likable coach,
and he wants to quit the team. The point. He wants to quit the team. He goes, hey, there was another kid who wanted to quit the team and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, what happened to him? He goes, I don't know. He quit the team. I never heard from him again. It's funny.
Pretty good bit.
This is fun. Like I said, the coach really did make me laugh a lot.
Yeah, he was good. So a good bit.
Yeah.
And poor Scott, he just can't figure out what's going on.
I will say, you talk about doing the voice thing, but it is interesting. I mean, he has been on Family Ties for a few years at this point. But while he isn't a movie star yet, boy, the persona is there, though, isn't it? He is aggressively...
It was there from the beginning. If you go and watch, what was that thing he did before this? That Canadian thing.
I know what you're talking about, but like, I mean, he was just... Even before he was a movie star, he was a fully formed movie star, it seems like.
Yeah, the persona was already there from the drop.
You can see it in the episode of Night Court that he's in.
Right, yes.
Yeah. He's in Class of 1984.
Yeah,
which I love as a fan of like grindhouse exploitation movies. He definitely gets murdered in that.
That's when he always mocks because he goes, "Man, I'm fat in that," and he's not, but he still has baby fat because he's actually a
I was gonna say
teenager
Michael
at
J.
that point.
Fox was never fat. Has never been
No,
fat.
he's never been fat.
You talk about High School USA? Is that what you're trying to remember?
High School USA, that's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Which is so
yeah.
funny because it is about as Canadian as you can get. And you're right that he came out fully
Holy
formed,
shit!
movie
Look
star.
at this cast for High
But
School
in
USA.
this movie, every time he says sorry,
Sorry.
that's where the Canadian shows
Oh,
up.
I caught that every time. So look at this cast for High School USA. It's all future TV stars or current TV stars because you have both Todd Bridges and Dana Plato from.
And you have, isn't that the one that Nancy McKeon's in, who ended up being Joe on Facts of Life?
Nancy McKeon. We also have Don Wells and Bob Denver.
Right.
And,
Yes.
Ken Osmond and Tony Dow from Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
And Anthony Edwards with a full head of hair.
He had it at one point.
Yeah. Back when he was in Gotcha. Remember that one?
Oh, yes. With Linda Fiorentino.
You got it. I spent a lot of my time renting random shit as a kid, and so you see
You
stuff
certainly
like Gotcha.
did. You
I was
constantly
I was like, oh
surprised.
my god, Dr. Green from ER. I was a kid who loved ER. I don't know what was wrong.
I loved ER, but I was, of course, not a kid.
Yeah, I was a kid who watched ER and Law and Order every week. So.
And as I've told you, when I worked at Warner Brothers, he was still on the lot and very nice.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that, man. Goose.
He and our friend who played John Carter.
Oh, Noah Wiley also. Love
Noah
that
Wiley,
guy.
very nice.
Love
very
it.
nice.
They seem like it, so I'm glad to hear that. All right, but you were there past Clooney, right?
Yeah, I heard lots of Clooney stories, but I was there when they were filming Ocean's 11.
Oh, okay.
And I was there when they did the live
Failsafe.
Failsafe.
Yeah, that was
like,
good.
Dr. Strangelove was based on it.
Yeah. That was good.
I was there when they did that. That was fun.
Yeah.
Because I just stood back and watched them run from soundstage to soundstage while they were doing it.
That's awesome.
Changing their costume.
I remember
while they
watching
ran.
that when it was on because it was like, it was a lot of people from ER were in it. So and a lot of good, They
and
did some
Don Cheadle.
And Don Cheadle. They did some live ERs too, which were always very exciting.
Yes, they did a couple live ERs and couple live Drew Carey's. That was all in Warner Brothers lot. They were trying that.
I was a massive Drew Carey fan as a kid because
they shot that there too.
It was unlike anything else. I was like, wow, this is like weird comedy. So let's see. So Scott does meet up with the aforementioned Boof.
Okay, all right.
Susan Ursity.
And she's adorable. I'm sorry she didn't have a longer career.
It's all right.
Not
She
that
married
she's a great actor,
Sid Sheinberg's son.
Yeah. But before you saw this movie, had you ever heard the word boof?
Probably not before I saw this movie, no.
Now I was interested, and it's covered in the trivia.
Yeah,
apparently,
I saw that.
Based on an actual ex-girlfriend of one of the writers, so I don't know if it's Loeb or his partner.
Weinberg,
and that was the girl's nickname.
Yeah,
but
her real name.
What no one seems to be acknowledging, and they don't even do it in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I did not make this up, but when I was a kid in Texas, and that's why this movie I kept going, oh my god, they call her boof. It's a slang term for anal sex.
Oh, that's interesting. Now that I don't
if
think
you
that made it
somebody or you got boofed, you had been
okay. I don't think that made it
anally penetrated. So I was like, what? How would they name somebody boof?
Yeah, I'm looking it up here. Boofing. See, I know it as to insert anything into your rectum. So that's when kids were butt chugging was boofing.
Butt chugging.
So I think it evolved over time.
Yeah, it could be, but I will at least say that in the period this movie came out, boof was I don't believe it was regional, but it was pretty much just like, it was anal sex. So the idea that this innocent, lovable girl next door, her nickname for the entire movie, they never call her by anything else, is Boof. Adults,
it's not like
teenagers,
her name is,
we're all calling her Boof.
It's not like her name is Janet Booftowski or something like that.
Right.
Call her, but there's no explanation for it. I would say it's a bad screenwriting choice because it makes no sense. And the other thing I noticed about this is they say it a lot. He's always going, "Hey,
They do.
Boof, I don't know about that, Boof. What do you think, Boof?" Like almost every line he has her
Yep.
name in it, and I'm just going,
Yep.
number one, I hate that in scripts when people are saying each other's names so much. It's weird, and two, it makes it even weirder that the name is Boof.
That
What?
if it's even slightly connected to a possible slang term, you either have to deal with it, like there's a rumor that got around, or whatever, or you just avoid it and give her a different nickname.
Yeah,
I don't care that he knew someone that in real life's name was Boof.
And also, how'd she get that name? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if it was the 1960s or even early 1970s, it could be if you wore a bouffant hairdo.
True.
And then someone might have said Boof because you chose to wear your hair that way. But other than that, it's about getting pegged. I don't know.
Well, I said it has evolved now to be to literally insert anything. So also to conceal something in one's rectum would be to be boofing, as in prison slang. That guy boofed those drugs. Still, all bad, no matter what. It all involves butt stuff, is what we're saying. No matter what.
Butt stuff is basically this poor young teenage girl's claim to fame.
Maybe she was known for boofing at parties by butt chugging. I don't know. By the way, if people have not seen the movie Blockers, there's a very funny scene of John Cena boofing in that movie that is worth the price of admission. I'll just say that.
I've never seen it.
Not
sure if you've sold me on it.
Very funny movie. Highly recommend that movie.
Okay.
Not just for the John Cena butt chugging scene, which is funny.
But as you said at the beginning, this movie is very slight. So we have this is the groundwork. We have the extremely common thing of likable guy has had a lifelong friend, neighborhood girl next door who's very cute. It's not like she's homely.
I actually think she's
he doesn't
prettier
see her
than
as anything.
I actually think she's objectively prettier than the super hot girl.
I am in complete agreement.
Who's also kind of not like popular. I mean, is kind of popular girl pretty, but it's weird. Once again, you talk about, I don't know where this movie is set. Did they say?
Well, there's so many. Well,
it's Anytown, USA, is what it seemed like to me.
It does seem like that, but I kind of thought
she reads like Valley Girl to me
because it looks. I mean, because they shot it in Fremont, it looks like California. I'm just assuming
what I'm saying is the popular girl has that look to me.
Well, actually, she's
California
Texan. There's so many Texas actors in this thing that it seems.
Why is that?
I don't know. It seems weirdly like that became a choice.
Yeah.
Because I found out that she's from Texas, and you've got the dad, and you've got, Jim. And so you've got all the Texas contingent. And she does, to me, look like a Dallas girl. She looks like that.
Okay, I can see that too, which further adds to that kind of, once again, like, I don't know. There's something about that 80s.
Snotty, rich hotness. Snotty, rich hotness.
Also, there's something to me about the way that 80s hair and stuff really didn't do any favors to women in that era, I feel like. So
true.
I look at her and go like, oh, she's way too done up in this 80s manner. So
yeah.
I like the more what would be considered plain Jane in this, although in any other world, Susan or City would be considered a gorgeous woman, I think.
I know. It's just so funny to me that Scott just can't even see her for the trees. It's like,
oh, yeah, I mean,
and everyone in town knows it too. His dad's like going, come on, you got Boof right there.
Because one of my favorite John Hughes movies is Some Kind of Wonderful. At least in that, I mean, obviously Mary Stuart Masterson is stunning, but they at least try to make her kind of punk and alternative to like downplay.
She's tomboyish and she's got the buzzed head and she wears overalls that hide her body.
You cast Leah Thompson, who is also
don't
a stunning
ask me.
woman.
That's a Sophie's choice, man.
That's what I'm saying though. It's like that movie actually. You go like, oh, I could kind of believe Eric Stoltz's thing here.
Yeah.
But anyway, apparently they were quite taken with Susan or City's performance in the Scott Baio classic Zapped, and that's what got her this role. The wildly unacceptable movie by today's standards, Zapped. Good Lord, even just looking at the poster is disturbing.
Nothing quite like those two guys speaking in a window and using telekinesis with a little lightning bolt to lift someone's skirt.
With the tagline, they're getting a little behind in their classwork.
Oh, I didn't get it till just now.
Because they're looking at ass.
Oh, that's not what I...
Oh, no, that's what that was? Of course, the classic comedy duo of Baio and Ames.
Baio and Ames, attorneys at law. No, actually, that's Bob Loblaw.
Bob Loblaw.
I used to read Bob Loblaw's
Loblog?
Loblaw.
I liked when Bob Loblaw lobbed that law bomb.
That is impossible. I would have had to quit. I would be like, sorry guys, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't say those words together without tripping over.
Bob Loblaw lobs law bomb. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, she's very charming and cute, and once in a slight part in a slight movie. Like Booth is given just enough characteristics, and she's cute.
Made to be his accepting friend who clearly has a crush on him, but it is obvious. She doesn't hide it at all.
No,
she
I was gonna say,
hangs on him.
There's no I mean, it's so weird that they make out in the first 10 minutes of this movie.
Yeah,
that's
when they go
weird.
to there's the 7 minutes in heaven thing in the closet. I'm like going, I do think that would be weird if you've grown up with that person and this is the first time you're kissing and it's suddenly just like put your hands on me. I'd be
it's weird from a story structure standpoint of if she's the girl he doesn't want, why is he making out with her then? That's weird.
Well, when you have to 7 minutes in heaven.
Well, but I mean, I feel like the better screenwriting thing would be to see him go in there with another girl and have her look sad about it.
Well, she says when they go in there that she actually got somebody else's name.
We know that because the popular girl did get Scott's name. We saw that.
And did not want it.
Yeah.
And of course, Booth wanted Scott anyway. But yeah, so
it's just weird.
She's not trying to be coy about she wants Scott, and Scott's just being like, yeah, but I really like the blonde
Once
chick.
again, totally irrational, though. She has a boyfriend. She has no interest in him, and he just won't give it up.
I know. And
so
apparently
weird.
She doesn't even quite know his name.
Yeah. I don't get it. Like, I don't know. He's insane.
Well, she's just that hot.
But she's really not. I mean, no offense to this actress who's very pretty, but I don't know. It just seems like
in the world of this movie,
she's
the hottest thing that's ever been.
But nobody else is drooling over her necessarily.
The grown-up drama teacher is.
Well, that's weird and also hugely problematic from a modern standpoint.
But
that
he's
was
very
weird.
Funny.
He's very funny.
The thing later is like, no wolf.
Yeah.
Okay, no wolf. No
that's Scott Pollan who plays him.
Where he's like, wolf person, wolf.
Yeah. Wolf
guy.
Wolf man, wolf thing. Yeah.
I need you to do your wolf thing.
Yeah. Oh my God, that like I said, that is the key to this movie though, that makes me enjoy it, is everybody's just like, oh, he's a werewolf, cool.
Yeah.
And in fact, we like it.
As I said, I think they hired really good character people for even the little parts.
Yeah.
So there's really no one in this that's embarrassing or lame.
No.
Even like the third friend of Scott's that doesn't get a lot of screen time, that's not Styles. There's the one that gets freaked out that he's a werewolf. And they never really resolve that.
Doug Savant
and at the end, he's
Brad.
just happy with everyone else. But he's good too. And he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at him.
Okay.
Like I said, Doug Savant, man, he's in a lot of stuff. Yeah. And still working to this day. So yeah, I mean, everybody here is a pro. And they're all doing competent work in a movie.
In a very slight film.
In a movie that also everybody's doing, when I say competent work, it does seem like everybody knows it's slight. They're all going for it.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, this is all just very,
I'd say that
light.
Tone is very consistent. I get on Tone a lot, and Tone, if you miss it, you have fucked your entire movie.
Yep.
Everyone in this is on the same comedic wavelength.
Oh, yeah.
And they all are like, we know that we're all accepting in this universe of this guy who we've all had in our classes and we've known since a kid is now a werewolf, and we're just going with it. So it's again, everyone's playing it at the same level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's once again, it's just baseline good. You know, it's not. It has
baseline good,
and it has no aspirations to be anything else, and that's fine.
Nope.
So like I said, I can get into that wavelength because it goes down smooth.
Yeah, the plot is essentially this: it's just Scott wants that hot chick.
Yeah,
he doesn't. He's a mediocre everything. He's not exceptional, but then he starts having these changes. He's trying to hide it from everybody. Like his hands start changing when he's trying to do a math question on the board, and he freaks out and runs out of the room because he doesn't want people to see his hands.
You know how disturbing that scene is, though? And then when the vice principal follows him into the bathroom, he's like, "Show me your hands."
Yeah, but they had done the clever thing. If he goes into one restroom and he's not alone because there's a guy in there defacing the mirror with a
Right,
huge
and then the
marker.
vice principal's like, I take it do you have a marker on you? No.
Yes, yeah. So when the vice principal or the principal guy, Jim McCrell, is down in the bathroom,
Jim
and he
McCrell.
goes, "Show me your hands."
Yeah.
And we think, "Oh shit, he knows about the werewolf thing." And then he's like, "I guess you don't have a marker." Oh, I see. He's just trying to track down the graffiti artist.
Show me your fucking hands, kid. I thought that was out of control, man.
Show me your fucking hands. Down on the ground. Down on the ground.
Don't make me kill you.
Not again. That doesn't happen.
Jim McCrell improvised all that stuff, I heard.
Yeah, but all this is, of course, puberty stuff. Like, oh, I've got a boner in class and that kind of thing. And
no, this is the best stuff to me. Is the first half of the movie, I think, is much stronger than the second half because it's cute. And then my problem with the second half is it doesn't go anywhere. It just stays kind of cute.
It's very true.
Really thinks I care about the basketball storyline.
Yeah,
which
it thinks that was what this was all hinging on.
I do not care if they win the big goddamn deal.
I think the point of it isn't that they win. The whole point, supposedly, but it's
that he wins as Scott Howard,
as himself, and he also, like I said, he shares the spotlight,
which makes no sense. The whole thing was, I was watching it going, wait, why is everyone else all of a sudden good?
I know. Why would that suddenly make Chubby able to hit, baskets?
Yeah, it's like a 3-pointer. I don't know.
I know.
I will say,
and it's actually Chubby they put up on their shoulders at the end of the game, not Scott.
Yeah, takes a few of them to do it though. No,
it does. It does indeed.
This is a movie. A lot of my memory of this movie comes from watching with my dad, who is a sports obsessed man and who enjoyed this movie, but frequently called out the inaccuracies in basketball and has for years railed against the casting of Michael J. Fox since he is clearly not a ball player.
Yeah.
And the fact that he grows about 6 inches when it switches to his
right,
double.
the stunt double who can actually play basketball.
Right, yeah. And that
they try to disguise that by having him always like with the hunched over
and
dribbling
I also
position.
noticed they did a lot of things where they didn't get him next to people in shots where you could compare height a lot.
Yeah.
They did a lot of that. It's still he's clearly got longer legs and he's a bigger dude. By the way, 4 hours it took to put that makeup on. I like the makeup in this movie. It's not that it's not trying to do the same thing as Howling or American Werewolf, but it's a very good design of werewolf, I feel like, for this movie.
Yes, this is a good sitcomized, safe-ized, cartoon and cute-ized.
You can see it's Michael J. Fox still, like he's coming through the makeup.
There's a cleverness to, I thought, the cleverness in making it very long-haired, as in from the top of his head and also under his chin, which most werewolf makeups don't do that.
Right.
But I thought, clever choice, because when he's under the clothes and so forth, they can just have the hair hanging down and it's masking where they didn't have to do makeup anymore around the neck. So if you make that hair long, then he didn't have to have anything done onto his neck or his chest. So it's just around his wrist and just up here.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's a clever design. And also long hair, like he's a cool kid guy, because now as a werewolf he's got long, luscious, flowing.
My favorite line in the whole
hair.
movie, by the way, is when the jerk boyfriend guy is confronting him at the bowling alley. He just goes, "Hey man, under all that hair, you're still a dork."
Yeah. And it's kind of true.
I did enjoy that.
It is a decent werewolf makeup, not amazing, but as you say, I think it's was well designed for this type of movie.
Yeah.
If they had used this design in The Howling, I would have been, oh no.
Right. No, it is this. It's cute.
It's cute.
And I don't have them, but they do make pop vinyls of this because it makes a great toy. Like it's iconic, it's identifiable, and it's cute, and you can give it to your kid. Once again, like I said, like 6 or 7-year-old me loved this movie because it was safe and fun and funny, and my favorite actor, Michael J. Fox, was in it.
I kept waiting for, I've seen this movie a million times, but there's a whole bit where, of being a werewolf, everything he does is now amazing, including he's a brilliant student.
That made me laugh so much watching it this morning, because I'm like, wait, why? Why is he getting A's?
The dad says it's like being the wolf is like you amped up. Just everything you do is
That's
better.
That's the first time we've seen intellect be part of it.
I know. He scores like an A on the test. He's like, all right, not bad being a
superhero movie in that sense. Like he might as well just be you turn into Superman, you know.
Well, it's like for a long time in Marvel Comics, they would have Jen Walters go, "Oh my God, I realize it's been 9 months since I turned back into Jen."
Yeah,
it's like, why would I? As She-Hulk, I'm powerful, sexy, and my brain is exactly the same as when I'm Jen. There's no reason to be Jen.
Maybe the new She-Hulk TV show will borrow some thoughts from Teen Wolf, is what we're hoping for.
Yeah, I want to see her with a sweatband, running down a full-length court.
If there is not a basketball scene, then hashtag not my She-Hulk.
What I was saying is they do like he's out there on the court, and not only is he a great basketball player, he's doing like Harlem Globetrotters stunt work.
Yeah.
So when he spins the ball, I kept expecting it to pop because he's got the long fingernails.
God, that is such an obvious joke that I can't believe they didn't do.
They didn't do it, but anyway.
I am curious to see how wrestling ends up because that seems like there could be a lot more dangers with wolf features.
Yeah, I would imagine. But essentially, he's going through these changes and trying not to let on. Mm-hmm. Then the big scene is, I'm probably doing this all out of order, but
it doesn't matter. This movie's so slight, we can also run through it in a
It's very
manner.
true. But at one point, and I think it's before we go to that dance that we haven't mentioned Styles. Styles is the cool
Styles
kid.
Is totally the kind of character I loved as a kid. The guys who are like the schemers, the whatever, you know. One of my favorite movie of mine as a kid was Ferris Bueller.
Absolutely.
And I was like, there was no Marty McFly and Ferris Bueller and Peter Venkman were like my icons as a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
I just loved these irascible guys who didn't play by the rules and were too cool for school, and so Styles is very much in that same category. This
was them trying to do a not as stoned Spicoli, but also they wanted it to be Peter Venkman. They wanted it to be Bill Murray.
Val Kilmer in Real Genius was the other one I loved too.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, loved him.
I mean, I prefer Kilmer and Ferris Bueller's characters because they are schemers, but they don't really hurt anybody.
Well,
and the other thing is,
McFly.
It's pure-hearted, and they're also both brilliant. Yeah. Like Ferris Bueller is brilliant in the way he gets away with stuff.
Watching Ghostbusters as an adult, I'm going, did Venkman like forge his PhD? He doesn't seem to actually be good at science.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing that I'm always like.
Because the other two guys, but how is Venkman a doctor?
We don't know.
I love it though.
But I love Ray just sitting there going like, I always said, it's like read more.
Yeah.
I wish you had done the work. I wish you had done the work.
But as a kid, and just most Bill Murray things. Also later when I saw it when I was older, Stripes, John Winger was huge for me. I just wanted to be this guy who was like, who gives a fuck, man? Like, let's have a good time.
Yeah, that's Styles. He doesn't care if he's failing. In fact, he gets his test back and it's D-,
and he's like, hey.
Yeah, he's very excited because he didn't fail. He just barely didn't fail, and he's happy about it.
Very funny.
Styles he wears slogan T-shirts all the time. What are you looking at? Dick Nose is one of them.
Dick Nose really made me laugh.
Life sucks and then you die is the first
He's got the visor
sunglasses. The visor sunglasses. Yeah, he's that guy.
He's that guy.
So he's like the cool friend of Scott's.
He's the cool friend who is kind of a dirtbag. He's not popular. He's just very confident. Oh, he's the overly confident nerd is what he is.
The only way they're going to get into this supposedly like the cool kids party is because Styles has said, don't worry, I can get a keg of beer.
Oh, I love the first scene.
How he's going to do it.
I love the first scene when he tries and he comes in with a cigarette in his mouth. He goes, yeah, boss says I got to get a keg. So, you know. I thought that was very funny.
Yep. And you have
what I assumed all liquor employees were like based on movies as a kid, which is I need to see some ID there, son.
Yeah. And this is a good character actor too. He'd been in a million things.
Harvey Vernon. Can I say though that I love that his IMDb photo is him looking sternly at the camera from this movie, and you're just like, yeah, perfect. Ooh,
so he's not. He doesn't fall for their tricks.
He was also on Deep Space Nine.
Do what?
He did some Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, he's been in a million things.
Mm-hmm.
Long career.
Yeah.
I mean, by 1985 when he's making this, the guy was already in his like late 60s. So I mean, he goes way back.
No, he's not that old.
All right, early 60s.
Let's see. He died in 96 at 69, so he's like in his 50s.
Maybe he just always looked very old.
Yeah.
Because I'm in my 50s. Do I look like that guy?
No.
Be very careful the way you answer that, John.
No, certainly not. That's the thing, though. I think we've talked about this. That my dad's about to turn, or he's coming up on 70, and it's so weird because I think about my grandfather at 70, and my dad looks 30 years younger than him. You know.
Well, you know, we're all living better.
Yeah. People are not staying in the sun as much. People are drinking less. People are eating better foods. It's
I don't know about that.
Generally,
I had some DiGiorno's frozen pizza earlier. I'll be dead in a week.
That wasn't delivery?
No, it was DiGiorno.
Yeah. Brought to you by the
episode's been brought to you by our friends at DiGiorno.
Hey man, I will happily take it, and I'll take the payment in pizza.
That would be a big
dude.
check,
If somebody just wanted to give us pizza and sponsor this show, I think we'd take it.
I would definitely take it.
That's as good, if not better, than money.
Yeah. Can I pay my rent in pizza? Yeah. Because DiGiorno's is now backing our podcast.
The big DiGiorno's truck backs up to your apartment building. Beep, beep, beep. Yeah, we got a pallet of pizzas
I'll take
for
two
Jones.
Of the hand tossed, a couple of the other kind, and that one is good.
DiGiorno is pretty good as far as
frozen pizza goes. Yeah,
not bad at all.
Man, we really are giving them free ads right now.
I know.
But
yeah,
anyway.
we shouldn't be doing that.
So
somewhere Jerry is yelling, listening to this episode, going, "No, not free stuff, John. Don't do it."
Styles decides that Scott's gonna try because the guy already knows their faces.
His plan is going to get Scott killed.
Yeah,
he's going to give him a squirt gun to put in his pocket, and you're going to hold him up. But here's the key: you're gonna pay for it, so it's not really a crime.
Yeah,
you out of your fucking mind,
shady.
Styles. Yeah, I mean, this is where you go.
Scott goes in just like, yeah, I'll take a keg of beer and these and the guy's like, now I want to see your ID.
I mean,
and then feeling the wolf in him.
How old is Michael J. Fox here in reality?
He's 34.
No, he's 24. But he looks like he's 15. It's that same thing that Tom Holland has. So that's the thing.
Plus, again, he's a tiny little man.
Yeah, and he's this tiny. Oh, I'm sorry. He's this tiny little Canadian guy.
Sorry.
Going, can I get some keg of beer? And I believe they wouldn't sell to real life Michael J. Fox.
The guy's like, no, unless I can see your ID. And then he leans in, and his eyes go red, and he goes, I want a keg of beer.
And the guy's like,
and he scares the old man because he's clearly a supernatural creature.
Now, we don't get confirmation about whether this old man pisses himself, but
we don't.
It's quite possible.
Apparently, when they put on the wolf growl and the scary red eyes, you will probably piss your pants.
I love that because it's like a PG movie or whatever, the father says he lost control of his bodily functions. Yeah. So that also could mean he shit himself too. I don't know. Maybe it's both.
I hope he does both.
Yeah.
He also, but knowing Jim McCrell, always dreamed of him shitting and pissing himself.
His nose runs. He vomits. He literally loses control of all bodily functions.
Did you just ejaculate? Maybe.
Maybe I did a lot of stuff.
Maybe I did a lot of stuff. It seems to be a lot of earwax coming out. Shut up!
I did think that would be the funniest thing. Stuff starts leaking out of his ear.
Everything comes out.
Yeah.
But
this is not a Cronenberg picture.
Does he get the confirmation of his wolfiness before the party? Like, does
it's after the party.
It's after
the party. Right. After he scratches up Boof.
Yeah. Yeah, he freaks out at the party, too. So the whole thing is they do get the keg, and we also have seen another irritating and very dangerous thing they like to do, which is
van surfing.
They van surf, but not Scott. He's always the driver. It's Styles that gets up and surfs on top of the van.
This guy really did this.
What?
This actor really did this. Yeah, they talk about this in the interview. Clearly not Michael J. Fox doing it later, or when it is a close up on a pole rig, obviously. Because
Right.
what were they thinking? Like, well, we could lose Styles, but let's not hurt Fox.
Well, the thing is, Styles also is not doing backflips on the thing while it's driving.
No, but
the whole
even
thing is
when
that
he's
the
just
werewolf
standing,
is doing crazy.
But
shit.
even when he's just standing, Fox is clearly on like a process trailer. Like.
Yeah, but Levine, who played Styles, apparently was wired. They had him like.
Oh,
had
I'm
a
sure.
guideline on him.
I'm sure it was fine, and I don't. They probably weren't going too fast,
And I do like that it's just
and they're not in
street
real
shots
traffic.
of suburban Fremont in the 1980s. So you're like, oh, there's the old Jack in the Box logo.
Yes,
because they drive by that
fun.
twice. It's like, oh, there's an old KFC. Look at that.
Is this Surfing USA that they're playing here?
What?
They're playing Surfing
USA. Yeah.
Surfing USA.
Yeah. So yeah, very dangerous. I hope no one ever did that.
And this is I will say one of the things, this is a 91-minute movie, but like this goes on a while.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff where I'm like, this is funny, and then I'm like, why are we still watching him van surf? Nothing happens in the plot.
No, nothing happens.
It's only there to set up Scott doing it later as the wolf.
And also how crazy that Styles guy is. He's crazy.
I mean, what I like
is he has a crazy fun time.
Depending on the scene, Styles is either just a wild man or a legit criminal. And I'm not, And actually, to be fair, I knew a Styles in high school. He was a, friend of a friend. We were friendly. But he was always like, I don't like that guy. Because in real life, Styles is kind of a dirtbag. He could be fun. This real life Styles could be fun. But then you're like, ooh, but he's also dealing narcotics, he's into real deal drugs.
In 8th grade, I knew a Styles and actually was part of his cadre of friends. And he was always the quote unquote bad influence that I ever had. Mm-hmm. The closest I've ever gotten to possibly being arrested was when I hung out with him. He was fun. He was brilliant. He'd come up with these weird things to do, but they were always things that were wrong. And I would always know it, but it was also kind of exciting to do a prank at the 7-Eleven, something that would make someone's life miserable, but we thought it was hilarious because we were dick kids. It's like, let's put rotten eggs in the microwave at the 7-Eleven till they explode, which creates the world's worst odor, and we don't have to clean it up. We giggle and run out of the place. Yeah. It's that kind of nonsense. He was the guy who's like, I'm going to shit in a pan, and I'm going to throw the pan at the door of this building, and I'm like, yeah, you crazy man. Yeah. And I think later he did go to jail. Anyway, but I had stopped hanging out with him by 9th grade.
That was the thing like that, where this guy was fun. He also parked next to me in high school. We had parking spots next to each other, and I remember it's one thing. He was real fun. Then one day he threw a firecracker at my head that exploded right next to me and could have really hurt me. And you're going that's not. I know you're laughing. I almost got really hurt.
You're like, hey man, take off those louvered sunglasses and talk to me.
I mean, there was that kind of thing where there's that fine line between this is fun. Now it's dangerous, and that's not fun to me.
But Styles, we're supposed to love the guy.
We are.
And
he is lovable.
Like,
he's always on
Styles.
He's always in the movie on generally the right side. I love when he merchandises Teen Wolf later.
Yes.
And he's that guy. He's the kind of person that I never saw anyone with that attitude be this actually industrious. That's the thing that gets me about Styles. Styles is probably going to go far in life.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, when his friend admits that he's a werewolf to him, there is a pretty good beat where it's like, is he going to freak out? Is he going to run? And then Styles thinks it's the best thing ever.
I do love
and
that.
And immediately sees, I'm going to get a Wolfmobile. We're going to have T-shirts. He sees the whole thing in his head immediately.
Love the Wolfmobile.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I want a Wolfmobile.
That's probably a collector's item toy. You can probably get a Wolfmobile.
I did see that the Michael J. Fox's jersey from this sold for $30,000.
Jesus.
Yeah, somebody paid.
I like Teen Wolf, but
somebody paid.
I can't imagine someone being a
Scott
fan
Howard's
that much.
Jersey.
Jesus. But anyway, so they get the keg. They go to this big party.
Yeah.
And that's where the hot chick is with the boyfriend, who's the opposing basketball player.
Mick is his name. Oh, Mick.
And he's a stud jock guy. Mm-hmm. Doesn't want that little twerp hanging out, and because Scott had tried to ask,
"Hey, can I drive you to the dance?"
Yeah, I could drive you to the party. And she's like, I have a boyfriend, and who the fuck are you?
Yeah. He also
She doesn't talk like
that was when she should though. I feel like once again in this era. Yeah, I agree with the Texas thing though, where it's like the California or the Texas girl. She's a beauty pageant contestant.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
that
my
kind,
God, yeah.
She's got that vibe to her.
Yeah.
Which also just speaks to my own taste in women. Is I've never got like in high school, I never had a crush on the prom queen or I just never. It never crossed my mind to like the girls.
Oh, I
who
was
were
very
dating
often
football
attracted to
Well,
them, but I
sure,
also
'cause they
would get
were-
to know them,
Yeah.
and I would not like them
No.
that way. I would just think, yeah, you're hot, but
I would also the idea that they were dating guys like this, like as soon as the asshole
yeah.
football players were, I'd be like, well, if that's what she's into, then I've lost all
Yeah.
attraction. Like it just doesn't.
And for a long time, and this not across the board, and it's not like a prejudice, but for a long time, blondes, because they were so almost worshipped and as the ubiquitous hotties at any school when I was a kid, I tended to never be attracted to blondes because it was too much of a given. It was always like, I'm sorry, no.
I don't think I was ever into like a blonde.
I had
girl
one
in high
blonde
school.
girlfriend in my life, and I remember just thinking to myself, a blonde.
Yeah. I have never dated anyone with blonde hair.
Yeah.
Because I hate them, obviously.
Yes. No, I'm looking into the genome to see if I can eradicate all blonde hair.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she's that type.
Yeah.
And Boof is like, I'm right here. And this party, Styles, for some reason, is now in charge of doing party tricks. He's the guy who's...
He was only going to come to this party because he has a cake, and now he's like the host of the party somehow.
Yeah. He's like arranging all the games they do, and they're all like sexy. Like, you guys are going to be tied. Your hands are tied behind your back. You're on the floor in a bunch of whipped cream, and we're counting down 30 seconds to see if you can untie yourself. What?
Yeah. I will say movies like this, and growing up watching a lot of these 80s comedies, I thought this is what high school parties were going to be like. I thought there'd be all kinds of antics. Not necessarily sexy stuff, but like, crazy stuff happening. Stuff getting broken. No, I never saw anything. I barely even went to any parties as a kid in high school.
I went to a few, and I even went to a few of the rich kids too, but it was mostly the wildest it ever got was if someone got drunk and a fight would start.
Yeah.
But there was also like a family that had a trampoline.
I will tell
it's
you.
Like, it's not just us sitting in the living room drinking Cokes and watching a movie and eating chips or pizza.
Yeah,
there's also a trampoline outside. All right.
This is what a fucking nerd I am. I went to I went to parties more in college than I did in high school. Yeah, exactly. But I remember going to somebody's another like friend of a friend's birthday party, and fellow members of the podcast network here, Mike Ergoni, Michael Listman, were with me, and they just had a TV on in the background, and I was legitimately watching the CSI episode.
Yeah,
because it was also one of those things where there were like 80 people there in this big, massive, rich kid mansion, and we didn't know anybody. And also everyone seemed way drunker and way more aggressive than we were. And we were just like,
you really have to, if you go that way, you have to either meet them there at their level, or you have to find some other way to amuse yourself. As the sober guy at a lot of those parties, there was usually a point in the evening where even my drunk friends, and they would be friends, but they would get to a point of either being high or drunk to where, as a sober guy, I'm getting nothing out of this. I'm trying to.
Oh, I know.
Even joking. It's like, or not. I'm not trying to have a serious conversation, but the humor is just like,
it's nonsense.
Okay,
at a certain point. And that was always. People always wondered why I left parties early. It's like, well, everyone's so drunk, I can't communicate with people anymore.
Yeah, and what they're amused by, I'm not.
I can kind of empathize enough with the high or drunk mindset to like kind of go with them for a little while and get into this
a little while,
goofy
and then you turn a corner.
Then it's like, all right, I gotta go now. So yeah. Oh, what we're saying is we're so fucking cool.
We're so cool, but we would not have had a good time at this party.
No, this party now, watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh my god, it just seems uncomfortable, and I would feel so bad for everyone, and Oh God, I would just be
Well,
shaking
then
my
they
head.
get to the aforementioned 7 Minutes in Heaven thing, where everyone has the little slip of paper that
Yeah.
has who they will end up in the
Did you ever
closet
do
with.
one of these? Did you ever have one of these? I feel like this is such a movie or TV. I know it's from reality, I'm sure, but I don't ever remember.
I had been at parties where it happened and Spin the Bottle. I have
Yeah,
participated in a
sure.
couple of Spin the
Yeah,
Bottles,
the
but
spin the
never
bottles.
7 Minutes in Heaven.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the more innocent, I feel like, and I've seen a spin the bottle here or there, but
Yeah.
pretty rare.
I mean, it's
even
still
so.
embarrassing, especially when it lands on someone and they do not want to kiss you. They have to because of the rules. And then you're
Yeah.
like, wow, this is humiliating in front of all these people. How disgusted you are
Yeah.
by the fact you're about to kiss me is a real ego boost.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. I never hung out
But
with
yeah,
the
7
groups
Minutes
that
in Heaven,
were doing this kind of stuff. I was not a
Scott and Boof end up in the closet.
Yeah. They make
And
out,
as
which
they're
is
making
just
out, he gets into it.
Yeah.
But then the wolf is coming out
well, because
too.
she keeps saying your claw or not your nails, Scott,
Yeah, she's like, you're getting kind of rough.
which has also made me
He
uncomfortable.
then rapes her.
Well, I mean,
It is startling when the movie goes that way.
They come up to that, which I was
They
like,
kinda
I don't
do.
like that. When she's like, no, hey. And now she's yelling at him, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then you see.
And when they open the door after the 7 minutes, it's
back's
pretty
all torn
effective.
up.
I will say that does look like it does in the real life situations. Her hair is
Oh, yeah.
is like
that they
is
did
all
nail.
piled up
Yeah.
and disheveled, and he is sweating like a pig. But
Mhm.
it's because of the wolf changes happening. But
Yeah.
but I'm like, yeah, that's what it looks like when people get interrupted in the middle of making out in a closet.
Yeah.
Oh, this movie is full of verisimilitude.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'll have some off mics. Remind me to tell you some off mic stories,
oh,
Brendan, about
I'm not
stuff
sure
that
I want to
happened.
hear them. Yeah, all right.
That happened at some theater parties, because
Theater parties. Those are
that's
the ones,
where
my
the
friend.
nerdy shit it didn't nothing crazy happened to me, but I witnessed many a crazy thing at those.
Yeah. I was certainly in the theater scene, and I know that type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see. Where the hell? We're all over the place.
The
here.
party.
Yeah,
Scott
he tore
leaves.
the back. So he comes home and he immediately runs to the bathroom because he's like, what's going on? And his hands. This is where you get a lot of the changing, And then his father's like, son, you got to let me into the bathroom. He's like, no, Dad, don't come in here. And then
This becomes the masturbation kind of metaphor. He's like, no, Dad, I'm doing something in here. He goes, you can talk to me, son, about anything. Trust me, I've been where you've been. And
I don't think so,
he's covering the
Dad.
fact that he has fully changed, and they even did the bladder effects like that.
Yeah.
That was the 80s thing. Turn into a werewolf.
Yeah.
We got to put some balloons under your latex so your cheek goes bloop 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 bloop.
Yeah, they do
So
it way less here than any of the other werewolf stuff we've watched, but he
turns into werewolf full on Scott. He's like, I don't know, Dad. He's like, open the door, and he's like, fine, okay, don't freak out. He opens the door, and his dad is a werewolf on the other side.
Did you see the trivia on this?
About how the audiences always lost their shit.
Yeah,
at
the
this?
test audiences went. They talked about the laughter so loud it obliterated the next minute of film. They just went insane.
I guess if you're an audience that has never seen this before, I guess it would be a great beat.
It is funny. Like, it is objectively good comic beat to just stand there, and he has no expression. He's just a werewolf.
He's just a werewolf,
Son.
and they've also, because of this makeup style, he looks like the actor.
Yeah.
He also looks like he's a cute old man werewolf.
He's a distinguished old werewolf,
with the glasses on, and he is totally just like, see, I told you, we've got a lot to talk about.
I do sort of like this take on just, hey man, werewolves are people too, and occasionally we're gonna werewolf out, but you don't become an animal. You just look like a wolf, but you're still
I do like
you.
the throwaway when he's describing it to Scott, and he goes, by and large, we're just people.
Yeah.
But there's a whole thing of like, I'm acknowledging that maybe
there's some
there are
bad
werewolves
seeds
that go out and eat people, but we're not like that.
Because he
And
says,
he's like, I was hoping it would skip you because sometimes it skips a generation, but apparently you got the werewolf
So I was
genes,
looking.
so we need to talk.
I have never watched MTV's Teen Wolf, which is supposedly
No,
a
me
show
either.
based on this. I looked up what the setup is. None of this is in there, and I feel like, what? He just is a teen who gets bitten by a werewolf. I'm going, no, but this is interesting. This is good stuff.
I know. I
And
mean,
also-
then why? I don't know why it was called Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's named Scott
Yeah.
Howard. He has the same name.
And his
but
best
they've
friend
done
is a
nothing
wacky guy named Styles, apparently, in the show too.
Okay, but
no Boof. No Boof. I mean, I think there may be a
Then-
Boof equivalent character, but she's not called Boof.
Well, there's no reason to watch it then.
But
No Boof, I'm out.
two things. I think the family of werewolves is interesting and could lead to
It
stuff.
is.
And also, for a teen drama, the puberty connection, it writes itself. I can't believe
I
they
know.
didn't use that. And also, he plays lacrosse instead of basketball. I don't like that.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, I was reading
I've
about
never
it.
watched it.
I've never watched it either. I was reading about it. Superman's in it. The guy who plays Superman on CW was in Teen Wolf before that.
When you say Superman's in it, of course my brain goes to the character, and then I go, really? How did they work in Superman?
How's it going, everybody? I'm Superman. How you doing? Teen Wolf. Yeah, I don't really know what the deal with it is. I was going to watch the pilot out of curiosity and report back on the show.
I don't think it's worth it. Unless you really feel the need to.
I mean, I don't know. I just was like, I'm curious, especially after just watching this, to see what shout outs there are to it at all. Because I'm going like, man, if he's just a kid who gets bitten by a werewolf, then it's fundamentally... Because I thought at least that would be the starting place. Because I could get on board with taking this premise and making it more serious and more monstery. That doesn't sound bad to me.
Briefly lived streaming series that had Lily Taylor in it. What was
Wayward
that called?
Pines?
Is that it? And it
The
had
Netflix
a
show?
werewolf and...
Yeah, the one with Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of that. but
Didn't
it
care for
got
that.
boring
Though it
very
did have a
quickly.
killer werewolf transition in the first episode, is what I remember.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
The transition to werewolf was awesome, but the show was boring as hell, is what I remember.
Yeah.
That was a Shyamalan produced thing, I believe, too.
Oh.
Yeah. If that
Well,
speaks
that's
to
a mark of
quality.
quality.
Yeah, sure, yeah. So anyway, yeah, he runs out of that. We talked about the scene already where he runs out of class and he's turning to the wolf. The vice principal does find wolf hair in the sink, and he's like,
Oh, yeah.
You would think he might know about this because of his history with his father. Are we supposed to think that?
Well, no, I was actually watching it this time, watching his performance, because we know, having watched the movie before, that he knows all about this werewolf stuff. And I think McCrell does a good job of, like, the look on his face could be, what is this? But it could also be, it's starting again. So yeah, because at this point we don't know that he knows all.
Well,
about
here's the character to make your werewolf hunter.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
They didn't.
No, because it's just too light and cute.
It is. It's adorable.
I do have one yikes in my notes here, which is the scene where he's trying to tell Styles that he's a werewolf, and Styles drops a particularly ugly slur
yes.
about 8 times here that starts
yeah,
with an F.
well, it's also, and again,
It's
this is a
1985.
character the guys.
I understand, and this character, but it is like, Jesus. To hear
Right,
that today
it was
is-
jarring not so much for me to hear Styles say it. It was jarring for me to hear Michael J. Fox say
when
it.
he says it, yes, and he says it in a way where he's merely repeating what Styles has said.
Well, he's like, I'm not an F word.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, I'm a werewolf.
That it was, I mean, the thing about it was that it was just so casual, and it was just tossed around. You're like, good Lord.
We've come a long way, and
We
we
have.
have still a long way to go.
Absolutely. But the one thing is we can definitely know that is a very hateful and painful word for people. And
Oh my God, yeah.
yeah, it's really, I mean, it is the only other word I can think of that approaches the N word, where we do have to refer
Styles
to it as the F word.
knows his friend has some
Yeah.
deep, dark secret, and the only thing that comes to his mind is, are you a homosexual?
Because that would threaten
And you're
him
like-
most of all. Werewolf? No
Yeah.
problem. No problem.
No problem if you're a werewolf. In fact, I'm going to make T-shirts.
Mhm.
Do you think Styles would have made T-shirts if Scott had come out as gay?
Gay. It just says, my best friend's gay. Do we have that on the list, by the way? My best friend is a vampire.
Oh, no, I don't believe we do.
That might be, because that was another one I enjoyed as a kid with Robert Sean Leonard.
I've never seen it. I mean, I am aware of it.
Mm-hmm. I loved that one as a kid. It was very, that's 87. I'll make sure that gets on the list. That's
You make sure.
It's got a similar tone to this, is the thing. It's also
kind
cute.
of magical realism. We don't take this too seriously thing.
Yeah. Because I mean, it is a guy looking out for his best buddy who has become a vampire now.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's cute. It was my
Is
memory.
there any van surfing in it? Because that's the only thing I
There's a
am
little
interested
bit,
in.
believe it or not. No. I think they do take it slightly more seriously than this, because David Warner does play like a Van Helsing in it.
And I would assume that he still has to drink the blood of the living to survive.
No, if I remember, he has like he's getting like pouches of blood from like a blood clink, but he's drinking them like a juice box. Is the visual gag.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. I haven't seen that in forever either, but that was another one I loved. I'm sure it doesn't hold up, but good actors once again. Robert Sean Leonard, David Warner.
I liked him and don't understand why his career wasn't bigger.
House kind of gave him some resurgence.
It's true.
I
was happy about that.
Yeah, I always really liked him as well. So let's see here. Styles immediately starts selling Teen Wolf as a brand and gets the car, makes the shirts. How is he affording all this? This like down.
Yes, I have no idea because that stuff will
this.
run you some money.
And also, how many people are really buying Teen Wolf shirts? You know.
Well, what happens?
It would hit its limit pretty quick. I feel like
we get that's true. It's also a small town.
Yeah,
we have sort of a collapsed time frame that we don't understand how much time is passing, because once he's outed himself to Styles, and then at school, in the middle of a basketball game, a very heated basketball game, and
they all pile on the ball.
They get a pile.
Yeah,
he changes into a werewolf in the middle of the pile, jumps up, and that is. And now everyone knows. And what I love about that scene is there's kind of everything goes quiet. Everyone stares at him. It's sort of like this awkward thing where they're afraid. They don't know what to do. And then he just starts dribbling and continues to playing the game.
He jams that ball home, baby.
And then everybody's just like, hey, he scored a point.
And then
no one runs out going, it is a supernatural creature that kills.
It transitions from that to then this montage of the wolf is the coolest thing in school, man.
Yeah, he doesn't change back. So he's just walking the halls of the school day to day. And actually, at one point, just for those worried about werewolf lore, and I am, but they do address that. Like, Styles is like, can you do that just whenever, changing the wolf? He goes, yeah. He goes, sometimes I can't control it if I've lost control.
It's
or
Hulk,
if the moon is full or whatever.
It's Hulk-like in some ways. It's a little Hulk-like.
Yeah, it's a little Hulk-like.
Yeah.
He gets worked up or something, and I'm a werewolf now.
He'll get worked up later too.
Oh, mister. We have dropped a little bit of Hottie's plot line is.
Oh yeah,
she's happy with her basketball playing boyfriend.
Yeah,
but she is somewhat attracted to this wolf who she didn't care about him when he was Scott, and she apparently is the only actor in the school play, which seems to be some sort of knockoff Gone with the Wind. I was going to say very Gone with the
Wind-esque Southern plantation Civil War.
Yeah, she's in a antebellum Southern outfit talking about her plantation.
Don't burn my plantations, because that I didn't think
one else.
Yeah, because was anyone else playing the soldier character before the wolf?
I know.
And also, why is the wolf what he wants? Why does that make the play better?
No, just because the wolf. The thing is about the wolf personality is everyone's attracted to it. Yeah, it's a draw.
He just wants to put the wolf on the poster.
That's it. He just wants people will come to see the play if the wolf is in.
Because he's equally terrible as an actor in both forms.
Oh yeah. Actually, that is true. It's not like the werewolf may have made him smart.
Yeah.
And physically fit and able to do all that basketball.
Did not
doesn't make him a good actor.
No. Because he says he's going to quit the basketball team to focus on the school play because he can get some.
Yeah, here's the thing. Boof starts getting sad because at the same she's used to the fact he's a werewolf. In fact, everyone's totally used to it immediately. And she's okay with it. She's just sad that it's changing him because he's becoming sort of self-centered, show-offy, and he's not the same old Scott.
My favorite part of it is when he steals from his own teammate. He steals the ball from his own teammate in the game.
I know.
What a fucking
And the guy's
dick.
like, what?
I mean, Jesus Christ. The
team starts winning because he runs the whole game. The wolf is his own basketball team.
Look, I know this is not a sports movie, and I'm not much of a sports person, but I would say at a certain point, wouldn't you put your entire defense just on him and shut him down?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, you could stop the wolf if he's literally the only person scoring.
Also, I'd say that I know we're in a fantasy world, but at some point you might look to the rules and qualifications for high school sports.
Well,
and probably
I will
I
say,
don't know, supernatural beings are not allowed.
I will say, this game apparently has no shot clock, because there are times where they're dribbling for like a solid minute, one person with the ball.
Yeah, it's true.
You're like, wait a minute. I know enough about basketball to call bullshit on a lot of this.
Look at you just showing off all your sports
Well,
knowledge.
I am my dad's son. Whether or not I'm a sports fan, I know the intricacies of the games because I couldn't not get that through osmosis, you know. And he's accepted that now. Finally, in my adulthood, he's like, well, you know the games, and that's what's important. I know you care more about your spaceships and your magic, but you know, at least you know the rules of the games.
And that means the world to your old man.
That's kind of it. Yeah, that's where it's because I know I know that burned him up for a long time, that I had absolutely no interest.
Yeah.
Just was all about comic books and movies.
It's similar to my dad, who watched and loved a lot of sports. But the thing is, what's weird in our relationship is he never cared really, or it didn't matter to him if we did or not. It just he would still love it, but he didn't share it. In other words, it's like, oh, they don't care. Big deal.
I think the thing was too, my dad and his dad, that was their big bonding thing, was they loved to watch the games together. He cannot share that, but we both love movies, so we found that at least.
Thank God.
This turned into a therapy session.
It really did.
This is the thing. It's not that we don't want to talk about the movie because it's bad. It is just so airy and slight that it just kind of is like,
it's a teen comedy.
It's almost
that
like,
has
yeah,
a werewolf in it.
What do I have to say about it? I feel like we're gonna have more to bag on in Teen Wolf 2 that will be a different show. Yeah. Because I think I've seen it once and don't remember almost anything about it.
Jason Bateman is a force to be reckoned with, even under all that yak hair.
Fucking love Bateman. That's it, man. Love both Batemans, by the way. Also connected to, which I did think in this, Boof looks a little like his TV sister.
It is true. It is true. Because on Family Ties, of course, Justine Bateman was his sister, was playing Michael J. Fox's sister. And so it's funny that Justine Bateman's real life brother, Jason Bateman, then starts playing the Teen Wolf in the next movie. Do you think
they just were like, well, we can't get Fox. Let's see. Family Ties, Justine Bateman, Jason Bateman.
Yeah. Because actually, that's not a bad jump, because you have a similar charm, a similar likability.
I mean,
but I clearly don't have a script.
No, I think similarly to this, it's a worse script, but I imagine similarly to this, Bateman will be watchable because we like him.
Yeah,
he's just likable, like Fox, even in a piece of shit. Like, so, a movie he has finally lived down in his 40s. So let's see.
Poor guy.
Because even I remember when Arrested Development started, and I was a big fan of it. My dad being like, "The Teen Wolf 2 guy is in this?"
Wow, that's so unfair.
God. Well, my dad also loved him on It's Your Move. Apparently, my dad was a fan.
loved him on It's Your Move.
That was the other thing my dad knew him from, is that he was great on It's Your Move. That show should have lasted.
It was great. It was a spinoff of Silver Spoons.
Here we are. Face to face.
Jesus.
Couple
All
of
right.
silver spoons.
Moving on.
That was one I loved as a kid too. Let's see. My note just says he's a damn celebrity.
Yeah, because Styles is selling Teen Wolf T-shirts. Yeah. He has they've won all their games, so the team is on the move. But even his friends, except for Styles, are feeling either shut out because he's such a big star now.
Yeah.
And he does get the girl.
Holy shit.
Briefly.
Yeah, that's this scene here. He goes into her dressing room and she disrobes and says, "Hey, we're all family here in the theater." And by that she means we're the only two people in this fucking play.
Yeah. She locks the dressing room, and
so weird.
Apparently they have sex. And outside of the school, they hear the wolf howl.
Well, we should talk about this. Yeah, she finally takes her bra off in front of him there. And then she talks about getting him worked up to become a wolf. And then she says, "You are an animal." Cut to outside, and he is howling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I guess that means
I just
that.
don't understand this idea that this woman wants to have sex with a wolf.
Well, the thing is, this movie is implying
Yeah.
that being a werewolf is a particular form of glamour,
Yeah.
as if you become so magnetic.
Yeah.
Everything about you is enhanced. So even though technically I guess that would be bestiality, she sees this wolf man and is like, I have never been hotter than I am right now.
But she
So she gives
also
herself to him and he thinks we're boyfriend and girlfriend now
Yeah,
because
but
we've
she
had
also
sex.
is kind of doing this to make the other guy jealous when we get to the bowling alley.
Yes, yeah, well, we find that out. She's also
Yeah.
just trying because he takes her home after a thing, and because they go bowling together, and
Yeah.
that's just to show him off and make the other guy jealous.
Yeah.
And when he drops her at home, he goes, "Well, are we gonna go to the winter dance together?" She goes, "No, I've got a boyfriend. You know that." And he goes, "I thought that because of what we did, that maybe now we're together." She's like, "No, I'm just making him jealous.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun, but get the hell out of here. You're still just a nerd with a lot of hair."
Yeah. So
And
weird.
he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've always got boof, is what he says. The end of the movie. I've always got boof.
I mean, it is kind of that, which is kind of sad. It does sort of seem like he's like, I guess boof then.
Well, he does come to realize she's the only one who truly loves him for him.
I mean, this goes back to another one of my absolute favorites that comes at the same point and is a better movie, which is Savage Steve Holland's Better Off Dead.
Why do you mean better movie? I don't understand how you could think there was a better...
love that movie. I've seen that movie like 20 times. I love
No, Better Off Dead is great.
And that's another thing where he realizes that he loves the cute French girl and not the hot blonde. In that case, though, his obsession is more warranted because they actually were dating and she dumped him. Although he was apparently clearly obsessed
I also
with her.
this is another thing where it's like, I'm sorry, but Diane Franklin, whether or not she's doing a cute little French accent, I'm sorry, there's no comparison.
I don't know.
I love me some Amanda Wyss, right?
Love
That's who
Amanda
plays the
Wyss.
blonde.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Diane Franklin, no, she is a goddess.
I don't know, man. I think that
No,
is a.
sorry. Then
think
you
that
can
is-
keep Amanda Wyss
I
and give me
can.
Diane Franklin.
Hey,
all
I
right,
met-
have we reached a deal?
I met
have
Amanda
we
Wyss.
reached?
She still looks amazing. She was very
I'm sure
charming.
she does.
Very charming. Have not met Diane
But-
Franklin, to be fair, though.
Diane Franklin, all day long,
I also
all
missed.
day long.
She signed my Better Off Dead poster, and I missed my chance to meet Cusack at a convention. I just wanted to see if he was going to get pissed that I brought a Better Off Dead poster. I don't know. Because we know he fucking hates that movie, which is... You talk about Fox being embarrassed by this. Cusack being embarrassed by Better Off Dead is truly insane. Because that is
When he
great.
should be embarrassed by One Crazy Summer.
That is much worse. Yeah. As a kid,
It's
I
not
liked...
much worse. It's just of the two, it's the
weaker,
least.
yeah. Even though, I mean, it has good people. It's got Demi Moore and stuff in it. It's, you know, it's got Bobcat Goldthwait, which I loved as a kid. I loved Bobcat Goldthwait as a kid.
But you get Better Off Dead.
It doesn't
is a
work. It doesn't
classic.
work nearly as well. No, I own Better Off Dead. I don't own One Crazy Summer. As a kid, they were like equal to me.
Now that's a shame.
Hmm.
Somebody throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that.
So goddamn funny. I do have a shirt with the picture of the bicycle and says I want my $2.
Nice.
Somebody got it, and I was riding up the elevator in my building, and the guy goes, "What is that?" Better Off Dead. I'm like, "Yeah, man.
I want my $2.
I want my $2." So funny, so weird. That movie was very influential.
It's
on my
better
weird...
than Teen Wolf, which is probably why we're now talking about
Yeah,
it.
I was just gonna say that movie was more influential on my bizarre sense of humor. Than
A
this.
great one.
Yeah, because I mean, this movie is like amusing. Some of it's funny. This movie doesn't have a lot of laugh out loud comedy in it.
No, and not a lot of quotable lines you're going to be saying later.
It doesn't really have jokes. More amusing things happen.
Yeah, and some clever character work, and that's
Yeah.
about it.
Yes, clever is more the word I would use than funny.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And it has a very likable lead.
The movie is likable above all, and that's really what saves it. Yeah. Are you getting the faint praise, listeners? Just the faintest, like, it's likable, it's clever
We don't
in places.
hate this movie.
No,
is basically it. We don't hate it.
It's so hard to get real worked up about it either. You know,
And
like-
this was, I will say, a pleasant watch. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It was nothing of me going, oh God, this is so much worse than I thought or remembered. And it wasn't me going, oh God, this is longer than I thought. It hit all the same spots. I was like, oh yeah.
So,
And when it was over, I was like, great.
yeah, Very
That
cute.
is a lame soundtrack. I did walk away going, God damn
Yeah,
it.
the soundtrack got me too.
Lame.
Also, the score to the movie really seemed like it was kind of half-heartedly done.
Yeah.
Dun, dun. It just got this kind of like dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like just the most generic 80s synth score.
Yeah. Like cheesy, almost caper music. Because it's just ding,
dun, 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 dun. And you're like, yeah, okay.
all right,
No
that'll
thought
work
went into
for a
it.
teen werewolf movie.
Nobody thought like, well, this is what Teen Wolf should sound like. It was just like, yeah, I guess that'll do. So anyway, he asked Boof to the dance, but she says she wants to go with Scott.
She goes, I will go with you on one condition. You take me as Scott. And he goes, but everyone wants the wolf.
Yeah. Everybody wants the wolf. He's only cool as the wolf. So he's going to go by himself, I guess.
Yeah. And we get the obligatory Saturday Night Fever montage where he's getting ready for the dance, getting in a white suit as the werewolf, and he's blow drying his werewolf hair.
We never get the Bee Gees song. This is like a sound-alike, right?
This is a sound-alike.
It's damn
thought, again,
close.
They spent all their money on that Beach Boys song, and they're like, oh, that's it.
Boy, it is so close to being Staying Alive, but it never. It's like
it is Staying Alive, but it is a it's a cover that they got cheap
that we never get lyrics on. Like I said, it almost feels like it's just the building part of that song, and it never actually gets to being Staying Alive.
The melody. Yeah. That's
one of those things where it's like, I'd rather they just pay for a cheaper original song than to use this piece of shit version of Staying Alive. It's awful.
But they had to.
So he goes into the dance, and
everyone's
man,
happy to see him.
Wolf.
Everyone's chanting. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing when you talk about comparing these two girls. The Pamela, the super popular one, is in kind of a conservative older lady dress, and it's Boof who's looking really hot here.
Boof, sleeveless number.
I mean, it's like a classic kind of prom.
The chest.
But it's like a classic kind of prom dress, but it is, she's showing off a lot more. She looks great. Yeah. I just thought that was interesting. And then Pamela's wearing something that doesn't seem to fit her character, I don't think, really.
Yeah, you would expect her to have done something really over the top or kind of
and then
glamour.
Do not understand the impetus behind the following scenes. This is where the script loses logic to me. Because
okay, bring it.
Why is Mick, the douchebag guy, so upset with Scott? He's actively dancing with another girl, and yet he's like, stay away from my girl. He's not with her.
Yeah, in fact, he walks by her.
He literally
blows her off.
He goes out into the hallway with Boo for a while. They end up kissing out there. Mick doesn't see that, but still, they were out there for a while. Now they're back, and they're just dancing together. He's not even looking your way.
Mick still responding to the previous thing.
It has to be that, but it's
because it's just been a couple of days, I think.
I think it is, but I think it needed to be. It's weird screenwriting.
It is.
It was awkward to me, is what I guess.
Stay away from my girl.
Yeah.
I don't want your girl anymore. I've got Boof.
Like, what if he had said, even if he had just said something like, I don't want you taking my girl out, or something like that. You know, like that. Because it seems like stay away from my girl would be the line he would say if he's actively pushing him off of dancing with that girl. Instead, he comes up to, and then I thought, oh shit, this could go like an X-Men route when he goes, you freak.
He punches him. He clocks him.
Seems
and
unnecessary.
Scott's like, oh, and the wolf is pissed
Boof
off.
A tramp? You said be a freak, stick with tramps like her, which is also where I'm going like, well, yeah, he's with her, man. What are you trying to accomplish here? I just thought. I mean, I know he's supposed to be like a dumb jock character, but it just seemed weird. It just played weird to me. It's fine because it's meant to set up.
Well, it had to get him to the next thing, which is he's so pissed off that he loses control, but only to the extent of slashing someone's
Here's my
coat
rewrite.
And shirt.
Brendan, I have figured out my rewrite, all right?
All right.
He is dancing with Boof, but Pamela comes over because now that she's seen the wolf with somebody else, she does want a piece, starts flirting with him. Misunderstanding, Mick comes over. That would have made more logic to me.
Possible they did something like that and trimmed it.
It could be.
I mean,
it,
that
it,
could have been in there.
It was the weirdest. It's the only part in the movie where
But
I'm
thank
going
God
like,
we still spend 3 minutes with the Big Bad Wolf song where everyone does a wolf-inspired dance, which is so
bordering on
terrible.
Thriller, bordering on Thriller moves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. The hands coming up like that. Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, could have been legally actionable.
I'm trying to think about the timing. Could they have been making Teen Wolf while Thriller is out?
Thriller came
It's
out.
83, 84, right?
Let's see here. Thriller album 82. So yeah.
82.
So yeah. It was definitely has come and gone in its popularity to a certain extent. I mean, it'll always be popular.
I still remember when that video came out and it had that disclaimer at the beginning. It was so I remember watching that at a friend's house. It was at a party. And the big debut of Thriller on MTV, and it coming out with this disclaimer that Michael Jackson said, "This is no way is not me promoting the occult." Yeah,
that was in that era when people were concerned about that shit.
Yeah, he's like going, "This is not in any way saying that I believe in the occult.
I just want to have some fun and be a monster."
And it was a great video. I remember the second it was over, it was like, "God damn, that was awesome!"
Hey, that's our boy Landis.
Because it was MTV at the time, they played it immediately after.
Yeah,
they played it 2 times in a row.
Yeah, I remember my dad showing that to me as a kid and just being like, "You have no idea." I'm like, "Well, it's pretty cool, Dad," but he just was like, "No, you're not getting what it was like." I'm like, clearly I'm not. I just think it's very good. Like,
it was a big budget, long form music video
and made by
a real director,
our pal Landis.
with cool makeup and a kick-ass song.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no question. Previous episode, American Werewolf in London, is why they picked Landis to do that.
Still wish that if you're gonna have amazing rap by Vincent Price, why wasn't he worked into the video?
Yes, I would have appeared. I would have made an appearance with Mr.
Vincent
Jackson
in the video.
Yes, I was available. I
was just sitting here collecting art and writing a new cookbook.
I will say, and this is a deviation here for a second, and also a look into my strange life. Amazon has, I think in honor of the late great Betty White, has put up all the episodes of a pet talk show she had in the 70s.
Oh.
Where she had celebrities and their pets on. Well, so I just started scrolling through the episodes and I see, why, there's Vincent Price. And I have to say, my God, was he a delight. Yes.
No doubt.
I'm here with my little doggy. What did he have? He specifically, oh man, it was like miniature schnauzers or corgi. It was something like that. Some like little cute dog. And he's like, "Oh yes, I've always loved them, Betty. And your new movie." Oh, and then their guest was, the other guest was the Raven from his new movie, The Raven. Yes,
oh my God.
It's the actual Raven I share the screen with. Let's show a clip. Yeah, he was on there to
so
promote
that was
the Raven.
A ways back.
He was on there to promote the Raven, and yeah, they had the actual. Well, he's an excellent co-star, Betty.
He's always stepping on my lines.
Yeah, and it was a thing where at a certain point it became more about the animal, but Price just kept, like, it was just like, no, the focus needs to remain on me, my dear.
There we go.
I'm gonna keep doing bits over here.
He's a pro.
Yes. Anyway, back to this movie. Could have used some Vincent Price.
Anything could.
Why, it's a teenage werewolf. How spooky. What a creepy idea for a film. He's loose in a high school. Vincent's really not that kind of movie. Oh, it would be blood-curdling for all the little children.
Like I said, anything would have been better with Vincent Price.
Yeah.
And it is a shame that, by that point, he still had some gas left in him, but they didn't get him for Fright Night. He was like, "I'm too old."
Yeah.
And,
I don't make the vampire pictures anymore.
No. Actually, he never really did many.
No,
vampire
it's true.
films.
I think actually Last Man on Earth may be the closest I can think he got to.
Yeah.
Which was vampire adjacent. He's like, call me when you have a movie about a man with scissors for hands. Then I'll come out of retirement.
If there's a movie where I get to put a cookie heart onto a robot.
I'm well, because he did have an established relationship with Tim Burton because he did that short with him.
Yeah.
Let me know, Tim, when you have something really weird.
Tim Burton always great about, just these are the things I love.
Yep.
So I'm going to throw work to
it's
Christopher Lee. I'm going to throw work to just whoever.
It's one
favorites.
of the reasons I love him is because he's one of us, and it shows in his films. You're like, oh shit, you're just a big fucking nerd, aren't you? Like, that's it.
Yeah, and Bela was long dead, but he gets to do Ed Wood, where he gets the next best thing, which is an amazing fucking performance out of Martin
to me
Landau.
Is he never got Cushing, and he could have.
It would have been real.
It would have been real
narrow
early,
window.
Yeah.
Narrow window.
And I don't know where like Cushing would have fit in.
Peter Cushing and Pee-wee's Big Adventure would have been very interesting.
Yes, tell me again about this Pee-wee Herman character. Yeah, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. He could have been in Batman. I don't. Oh, getting Michael Goth in Batman though, obviously.
I know.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, love it. Anyway, back to this movie. Oh, if only Tim Burton had made Teen Wolf.
We're almost to the end.
Yeah, we are. Because Scott tears his shirt, and then I don't like. This is another example where I'm talking about. I don't just want blood here, because I'm, but I'm going like for the principal to be like, I finally got you. You're not only off the basketball team, you're expelled from the school, and it's like, he really didn't do anything to that guy. Like if you get in a brief fight
more
and tear someone's shirt at a dance, wolf powers or not.
I know.
Maybe a suspension at best.
At best, a fist fight in a school.
Even
I got punched in the face in 8th grade, and my entire face swelled up. That was the closest I got to being in a fight, and I never threw a single punch. I got punched.
Yeah.
I got suspended for 2 days, and the guy who hit me was suspended for 3 weeks.
There you go.
But still, it's not like. And that's worse than getting your shirt ripped
this
open.
idea, Scott, from what I gather, is a totally decent kid, behavior-wise.
Well,
and this guy is just like,
dad happens to be right there and says,
"Oh yeah, why is the dad there?
A good guy.
Why is the dad there? I understand he needs to be, but it's one of those where I'm like,
it makes no sense.
I thought there might be trouble, so I went to the day.
I think that is it.
Yeah.
Like, I know that this is a big night for him, and who knows what'll happen, and
also
hopefully he doesn't rape Booth. But he shows up. She
told me about the thing in the closet, so I'm worried.
He talks to the principal and says, "Look, man, stop putting what was between you and me in high school on my son. He's a good kid." And he doesn't hurt anybody. Leave him alone. What's between me and you is old history. Get over it. And he's like, well, you can't push me around. And he's like, then he does the growl thing, and the dad's eyes flash red. And then we are led to believe.
Couldn't we have used a sound effect here?
They've used a sound effect, but
what does he say? I can always count on you, or something like that.
Yes, the principal has wet himself, possibly shat himself, and the dad goes, "I can always count on you, Russ," or whatever his name is. Like, yep.
I made a mess. That was a weird.
And
line.
So he has humiliated a middle-aged man, which I think is the point of the movie. And then
it does seem to be. And then just based on this incident, Scott decides he's not going to be the wolf anymore because it's a 91-minute movie and we got to get out of here.
Yeah. And he doesn't want to hurt anyone, even accidentally. And Booth's words have gotten through to him. Yep. It's like, I need to be me, and I need to succeed as me and not as the wolf, which is an unfair advantage.
Right. So he goes and he's gonna he shows up in the play and he's not the wolf, and the drama teacher's like, excuse me, go do your wolf thing. Or
I love the way he never learns Scott's name. Yeah. So I mean, it just the little bit. This guy has 2 scenes. They're both pretty funny, but I just love how he goes, wolf person, wolf thing. He doesn't know he's named Scott.
Yeah, I did think that was funny.
But yeah, so he basically says, if you're not going to be the wolf, which is your only selling point, you're out of the play. And Scott's like, great, Fuck your play.
Good luck finding one other person for whatever the hell this is.
This two-hander, which is
I mean, let's be honest.
Southern Belle and a Union soldier.
Let's be honest. There is no play. This is all just an excuse to get close to Pamela, right?
I think I think so. We get the impression because the first time we actually introduced to the drama teacher is he's watching her rehearse and he's going, it needs to be more sensual.
Yeah.
He's like it needs to be sexier, more sensual.
Weren't you waiting for and how do we feel about nudity?
I really thought that there would be this implication that she probably hooks up with the drama teacher as well.
Well, because it seems like she's pretty open sexually based on her whole thing with this actress. You talk about everybody in this. This actress did not do much.
Yeah, that's true. She I looked at her IMDb.
Yeah,
that's just how I found out she's from Dallas.
Not much here. This was her first film. This was her acting debut. And then she goes on to make Aloha Summer, a classic.
Oh yeah.
And then another classic, Cheerleader Camp.
Jesus. I guess the
oh my god,
Cheerleader
Camp poster is amazing. It's a bodacious babe's body with a skull head doing a pom-pom cheer, and it says, "Give me a K, give me an I, give me an L, give me an L."
I'm confused.
It spells kill.
Oh!
And then it says competition was murder at Cheerleader Camp. It's a slasher. With Leif Garrett, the aforementioned Leif Garrett.
It sounds like a winner.
Oh, and longtime crush of this show and the Action Shelf, Lucinda Dickey.
Oh, Lucinda Dickey's in it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, I did look up Boof today. She looks like a middle-aged woman, but still pretty cute. Like a cute middle-aged woman.
And in fact, isn't that the name of her podcast? Is Boof Today?
Boof Today. Boof Today. I don't know.
Well, good for her. I mean, I think she fairly quickly moved to the other side of the camera, and she stopped acting fairly quickly, I think.
Yeah, she did some stuff, like I said. Then she married Scheinberg's kid. And let's see, Laurie Griffin, who played the popular girl here, is now a marketing and film coordinator.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
everyone has ended up where they needed to be.
I think so. Not Michael J. Fox, unfortunately, though. It still bums me out that guy just can't.
You really thought watching this that he was going to go somewhere, and nope.
He did go somewhere, but I'm sad that he's talking about now he can't really do the acting anymore, he said.
No, obviously that is a crime, and even though his outlook has always been amazingly positive, he just got a bad deal of the cards, and it sucks.
It really does. He's still out there making convention appearances and raising all kinds of money for Parkinson's research, which he's done a ton. And if anyone hasn't read his 3 memoirs, they're all great.
Yeah.
I really I just enjoy him as a person, like on podcasts and stuff too. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he isn't just someone who lives with the bad stuff. He rises above. He's a really aspirational guy, and what he did, even though there should be a lot more of it, he was miscast plenty of times in his career, but I always liked watching him.
Same here. I mean, as a kid growing up in the 90s, he was my guy. Doc Hollywood.
Did I ever buy him as Joan Jett's brother? Hard rocking kid?
No, but like, I mean, some of his vehicles I love, like I said, like Doc Hollywood I love, and
Doc Hollywood underrated. That's
really
an odd
good.
little fun
Secret of
romantic
My Success
comedy.
I liked. Was it Greedy with him and Kirk Douglas?
Greedy.
That's cute. That's a cute movie. Funny Phil Hartman performance in that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean,
we're fans.
Oh, huge fans. Big Spin City fan too when that was on.
Yeah, Spin City was great.
Very funny. Not good when Charlie Sheen took over.
I did not watch it when he took over.
I bought the complete series and I threw out the 2 Charlie Sheen
Oh, dude.
Because as far as I'm concerned, it ends when Fox leaves.
What a diss.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I guess these came with it, but in the trash they go.
Nicely done.
This doesn't exist. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so Scott, Now
Post dance.
Yeah, the team is losing again. Styles is trying to get him to reconsider being the wolf. But
Styles is both pressuring him, as in like, dude, I'm gonna take a bath on all this Teen Wolf merchandise.
Also, he's got money riding on the game.
Like, and
they're gonna break my legs, Scott.
But they do let Styles come off as still more of a friend because he's like, okay, man.
He's begging him to reconsider. He is not going like, you have to. He's more just like, come on, man. You sure you're thinking this through? They do make him still likable. They always work to make Styles likable. And he is. And they chose a good actor as well for it.
But Scott goes out as Scott, and somehow they still do really well.
God. They're losing. Then Scott goes out there, and somehow they all learn how to play basketball better. I don't understand that. I do not understand this. And then it comes down to a completely insane thing, and I'm going to get into basketball strategy a little bit on this, but only because, I mean, number one, the other team is up by 1 with like seconds left, like 1 second left, and this moron, out of his own personal problems, aggressively fouls Scott, which is incredibly stupid because they're going to win if they just run the clock out.
Yeah.
And
emotions got in the way, but that allows him to then do free throws.
And they must have been a technical because the guys don't line up. But for some reason, this guy is allowed to stand at the edge of the court and stare him down.
I know.
That's not cool.
And they're both dripping again.
They're both pouring sweat. There's so much sweat on both of them. I'm like, do we need the buckets of water poured on them? Like, really?
Well, that sells the tension of this
game.
To
slow motion, and of course Scott
misses one.
No,
he gets the second. Doesn't he?
No, he hits them both because they're down 1.
And
they
win he does it
because that takes him at the buzzer there.
And then everyone is happy, and Boof hugs him, and Dad hugs him, and Styles hugs him.
Pamela dumps this guy instantly because they lost this game, which made me laugh. She wants nothing to do with him now.
Luckily, she won't have to see him day to day because they don't go to the same high school.
That makes
and
no
these
sense.
Two high schools are constantly playing basketball against each other.
I don't remember a lot of girls dating players from other rival schools.
Right.
That
and also,
happen.
I don't care. I mean, I've lived in small towns, but you go out of town to play other schools. It's not always just two.
No, I grew up in a suburban town, and we played the other suburban towns, that were around. We weren't like isolated.
So hilarious. It's like, I guess we're playing these guys again. We literally see them play 3 games.
That's all it gets. They only had money for so many jerseys and players, I love
it always had to be Mike or whatever his name is. It always had to be him because they're building a rivalry.
Yeah. And of course, Pamela runs over to. This is actually right at a Better Off Dead. Runs over to get with Scott, and he pushes right past her and kisses Boof.
Yep.
And that's how the movie. Oh, and Scott's father's there to be like, way to go.
Yeah, Dad's there. Everyone's there.
And my God, this movie is 91 minutes. This thing does not overstay its welcome by any semblance of the imagine.
It flies right by.
It really does. It is a brisk, cute little movie. Made much more watchable by the presence of Michael J. Fox. And as we said, this absolutely solid supporting cast.
I will say it is, like I said before, it's like I do understand that he went on to bigger and better things immediately and was actually already a very successful TV show. But he has no reason to keep you pointing at this like some deep shame.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have seen people make much bigger jumps from much more horrible shit.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, calm down.
Well, actually, I think that Joan Jett movie you referenced is more embarrassing to his career than this.
Yeah. God, what was it called?
I remember it, and what was it?
I keep wanting to say, Bright Lights, Big City was the Jay McKierney thing. That's different.
Yeah.
But
it has
not
something
bad
like in my memory. I haven't seen it.
It's like the other, the dark
Light of Day.
Light of Day. There we go.
That's it. Yeah, Light of Day.
That's it, because Bright Lights and Light of Day.
Oh, God, the poster's so bad. He looks tough.
I know.
In his leather
he's
jacket.
a tough rocker.
Yeah. Oh, and God, the tagline is the Springsteen quote. I got a little lost along the way, but I'm just around the corner in the light of day. Bruce
Yeah.
Springsteen. Written and directed by Paul Schrader. Ooh, I do not
Yeah.
remember that. Ooh.
It's not good, my friend.
No, it's not. I remember seeing
And
it.
it was on HBO quite a bit back in the day.
Yeah.
It was a cable one.
And I think I remembered seeing that and thinking that was like an early one. No, that's post.
No, that is post. Yeah.
That's the next one he makes after Back to the Future.
Secret of My Success, Bright Lights, Big City, and Light of Day were all him trying to break out of the I'm an adorable comedy
Secret of My
guy.
Success is funny though.
And it's true, but it's still like mature funny.
He plays an adult in it. That's
yeah. He
sure.
plays an adult,
and I remember liking that. I remember thinking that was cute. That also had Helen Slater in it, who I love.
God, Helen Slater. Well, that came out creepy, and I'm sorry, everybody. But
Casualties of War was the other one that he was.
Casualties of War, which was the big
Oscar
one.
swing. Ooh.
Yeah.
One I really enjoy is The Hard Way, and I know people were kind of...
The Hard Way I liked at the time, but I only saw it in the theater, but I liked it.
There's only one way these two...
The concept was good.
There's only one way these two are going to get along. The Hard Way.
TV actor cop paired with real cop from the tough side and doing ride-alongs and learning the tricks, but then there's a real mystery, and
he was a little up and down because he does The Hard Way, Doc Hollywood, which I love. Life with Mikey, I remember not being very good.
Oh, Life with Mikey.
Yeah, I remember that not being great, but I did like For Love or Money.
For Love or Money was good.
Yeah, where he's the concierge. That's a Barry Sonnenfeld film. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Greedy, which I said I enjoyed. Ooh,
you're going through his whole filmography right now.
Do you remember Don't Drink the Water, the Woody Allen movie he did?
No, I remember the play because it was often done by high schools, but I never saw the movie.
Yeah, written and directed by Woody Allen, the movie, and he was the star of that.
Huh.
Michael J. Fox. I think it was
well,
okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we love the man.
Yeah.
Even when he's covered in yak hair.
Last one. Oh, no, wait. He's great in The American President. Not a lead role, but he's great in it.
Oh, yeah. No, he is.
And the very underrated, in my opinion, The Frighteners. I love The Frighteners.
Oh, agreed. Are you kidding me?
Frighteners is fantastic, and more people need to see it.
Frighteners is one of those things where I can't believe it got made. Mm-hmm. And also, that's Peter Jackson saying, I'm dipping my toe in the big studio film world.
You know he was supposed to direct Tomorrow Never Dies, and that movie bombing caused the Bond people to fire him.
Wow.
Jackson was supposed to make, Brosnan Bond, and then that didn't go well, and they went, this guy's a loser, get him out of here.
Well, that's unfair. The Frighteners is a real weird hodgepodge. Talk about a tone that goes all over the place.
But works and is very entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe too weird I feel like it has found its cult audience.
And could have, it was definitely set up to where it could have spun off, but it was never going to appeal to mass. It was just never going to appeal to mass audiences.
And I think the Frighteners also may have kind of scared him back to TV, because then he goes back to Spin City.
I think he was taking his own risk and stab and being in the Frighteners, and people will think that was a weird choice, but I'm like, I thought it showcased him really well.
That was a great role for Fox. You talk about times when he was miscast. Not there. I thought that was a perfect
No,
use
he was
of it.
great.
That was a great way to do.
And it also had the incredibly cute, speaking of people that are underrated and never had a huge career, but Trini Alvarado always had a big crush on her.
Yeah. Why didn't she end up big? I was actually thinking this about...
She had a long career and done plenty of stuff, but, it's like she's one of the Little Women in the one that's like Winona Ryder. And Claire Danes, but she's not Winona Ryder or Claire Danes. She's one of the other.
Oh shit, though. She's gonna be on The Staircase, the HBO true crime series.
Oh, true crime. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, so that's good.
We're all fans.
Absolutely. So
Teen Wolf, we are recommending, right?
I think watch it. Yeah.
It's not great, but it's far from bad.
And it's, once again, Michael J. Fox does a lot to make this watchable.
Yep. And it's very 80s flashbacky, but
very
terrible
80s.
soundtrack.
I mean, as we talked about Fright Night, I feel like looking forward at the movies we have coming up for the next few weeks, we're firmly in my vision of the 1980s now.
Had they gone a different way with this storyline and gone a little, put some stakes in it, no pun intended, they could have done a much cooler sequel series instead of Teen Wolf 2. They could have introduced a Frankenstein's monster,
Yeah.
and we could have had a Frankenstein versus the Wolfman, but teenagers. We could have had
Teenage
a
Frankenstein?
vampire.
Teen
He could go to-
Frankenstein?
Yeah. You could go into college and there's a vampire rival at another school. Basketball playing
Teen vampire. I mean, we could have had the whole teen line. Well, we kind of get there a little bit with Lost Boys when we get there. That's teen vampires.
It's true. Speaking of which, what is next week?
Oh,
we're getting
Brendan,
close to Lost Boys.
I'm glad you asked. We're staying with the werewolves, and that's right. We're returning to The Howling 2. Your sister is a werewolf.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I already know my feelings and impressions on that one, but I haven't seen it in years.
Same
oh, my God.
here. Same here, sir. Howling
This
2,
is...
Your
There's a barrel.
sister is a werewolf.
I want everyone at home to envision a barrel. And at the top of the barrel, you've got, there's Howling, and there's American Werewolf in London. That's all. And Lon Chaney's not too far from the top. You got some of the Wolfman in there.
Right.
If you get all the way down to the very bottom of the barrel, that's where you're going to find Howling 2.
Oh, man. I'm not ready to call it bottom just yet because there are like 6 more Howling movies.
I know.
I think it's only going to get worse. But I agree.
This one is
a tear.
campy,
Yeah.
but I also remember it being boring.
Yes.
And that's never a good mix. Campy and boring.
The one positive I have to say is welcome back Christopher Lee to the show.
Yeah, possibly our last time with Mr. Lee.
Maybe? I don't know.
And if it is, what a way to go. But, yeah, all right. So Howling 2. My sister is a werewolf.
Oh, no. Your sister is a werewolf.
Your sister is a werewolf.
Or, as released in some places, Howling 2, Sturba Werewolf Bitch. Not a joke. That really was an alternate title.
Which, again, we've talked about this a lot. I still wonder why, but that is what you put on your business cards. I've never understood where it says John Campbell and underneath Sturba Werewolf Bitch.
Yep.
Never gotten that one. You don't get a lot of calls, do you?
I get more than you'd think, though.
All right.
So
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, ready yourselves, everybody. Our first time talking about Sybil Danning on this show, though.
It's true. How could we have avoided Sybil Danning till now?
I know. So we'll talk about that next week, but that is going to do it for this week's episode of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters. I'm John Campbell.
I'm Brendan Jones.
And remember, there are such things as teen wolves.
The big bad wolf. I'm doing the dance. Look, I'm doing the dance.